now we're about to go live.
Oh, just my face is draining.
Let's see here. Ooh. Sneezing over there. I think we're up now. You are live. Okay. So I'm gonna share this real quick.
Alright, then I'll share that link.
Okay. Page I manage. That one. We're live. And I'll put an exclamation point on there.
Way to sell it.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just allergies.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, we got some people up there. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? A little slow to get this one started, but I think we're about ready. Hello. Hey, glad to see everyone. Yeah, joined by some guests this week. It's gonna be kind of the same trio as last week, only now we're not in Portland, we're back in Coos Bay. And our friend Felix is down here visiting for 4th of July, and we wanted him to join us for another stream.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, God, I look like garbage. Sweet.
See if we can fit Danny
You want
Boy
to come
in
sit
here.
on my lap, Dewey?
Well, let's
No
see.
sound.
Let's, uh-oh, no sound.
No sound.
Better turn on that sound.
Here, I'll maybe see if I can grab a bench or something.
Sweet, sweet.
I don't know why there would be no sound.
Do you know sign language? We can do sign language this whole thing.
I do not know sign. I know the alphabet. Or I used
Well,
to.
maybe they can hear us now. Oh, I can hear you. All right, cool. So,
Oh, okay. There is sound.
okay.
Oh,
cool. Got
okay.
it. Maybe just quiet.
All right. Should I turn it up? Is everyone getting everything okay?
Check, test, wave to us if you can hear us.
Hello, I hear you great. Okay.
I better silence my cellular device.
Okay. So we might be all right. Why don't you just grab the other chair that's on the table?
I don't know if there's enough room.
Oh.
All right. Are you not able to scoot over any further? We will be having a third today.
We do not have as much space in my room as we did in your room.
Yeah, that is very true.
Hey.
Go ahead and try to talk, Dewey, and let's see if we can...
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
This is a tricky one.
It doesn't help that I'm like Shrek. It's like a gingerbread man and a donkey.
Sorry, messing with the microphone. I'm sure that's really nice on the audio. Wonder if I can
Alright.
boost this a little bit.
Booster?
Cathy Brewster. Kill Cathy
We should have worked
Brewster.
out the technicals before we went live, but
Yeah.
this is just the way it goes. Yeah, well, do you want to officially,
Yeah, I think we can start.
cool.
How you doing over
I
there?
think I'm ready.
Just trying to get comfortable here.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This
We should
is
get some
kinda
waters. Damn.
hard. I
got
grabbed
some water.
Yeah, I grabbed
Okay,
some.
I
You
might
can
need a...
have a swig if you
Yeah.
like.
Okay.
All right, let's
Alright.
do this.
I think we're ready to go now.
I think we're ready now.
I might need to.
we didn't have a lot of time to prepare. Like, most
No,
of us just
definitely
woke
not.
up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
literally just woke up like less than 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
Denny and I were up till what, like 6 or 7 in the morning last
yeah,
night?
about 6 in the morning.
Watching bootleg tapes of Spider-Man.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
I should bring that in to show everybody.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I think
I'll
it'd be
be
a
right
cool
back.
prop. So I'll tell a little bit of the backstory while you're grabbing that.
Oh yeah.
So last week when oh yeah, don't mind the Inception kind of room changing. Last week when Henry and Denny came up to Portland, I took them to my one of my favorite little spots in Portland. It's the Pacific Northwest's biggest indoor garage sale, and they have tons of just weird stuff and weird. I mean, like they have old toys and just anything. It's just junk mainly and rubbish, but
Yeah. You
that's
can find
where we
lots of
thrive.
great stuff at thrift shops.
Absolutely.
Places like that.
I mean, if you're willing to dig, you never know. I found an original 1980s Blues Brother movie poster in a frame. Like, I mean,
Wow.
you just find some really incredible stuff. And so I took Denny and Henry, and they both had a good time. They both got quite a bit of good stuff, and we were like looking one last pass at this movie shelf, and like one particular title kind of caught our eye, and we were like, "Is this real? Like, what is this? Like what?" And like all of a sudden, like Dana just lets out like this high pitched howl because he's like looking at this tape and he can't believe his eyes. So he shows it to me, and I'm just like devastated. I'm floored. I'm like on the ground, like holding my stomach, laughing my ass off, and I think you're about to find out why.
So at the very tippy top of the shelf is this, which I think
you can't quite tell how, because the stream's such poor quality.
Yeah.
You can't really tell how badly printed out the case is.
A Marvel Comics greatest superhero is spinning, Spider-Man. And then the back is even worse.
It's like an essay by Roger Ebert. Like it's like,
and it goes on and on and on, and it's like a making of. It's not even a plot description. It says Sam Raimi concentrated on things that were true to the character to capture the spirit and soul of Spider-Man. Raimi did not hesitate to jump into the fray. He did realize the great fan expectations. It's like a making of document. It's
makes no sense.
Yeah, and then
and it's not like a making of feature, right? It's the movie.
It's the movie.
Yeah,
and it says that it was produced by Hollywood Pictures, which was probably out of business by the time this movie came out.
Hollywood Pictures, the studio behind the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's probably what sank it, honestly. And then there's the tape itself. If you notice, the label is cut incorrectly. There's no runtime. It says there's a space for runtime, but it doesn't actually have any numbers there. It just says hour and minutes. And we checked this out last night, and
at like 3:00 in the morning of all times. Like I had just rolled in from Portland, and I got here like at 9:45, and just met Dane at the door. He had just gotten, Denny at the door. He just gotten off work, and like we just talked for hours, and
watched some Twin Peaks.
We did watch some Twin Peaks.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that soon.
Definitely. I know that last week the boys couldn't talk to you about that because someone in the group hadn't seen it. So, but now we can comfortably kind of talk about it, and because it was definitely pretty intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, we started that Spider-Man movie way too late, and just like
I wasn't awake for it. I had already gone to bed.
Yeah, we were up late.
We were really late.
It wrapped up around 5:30 or 6.
Yeah, like the sun was coming up. I was like, all right, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, this is actually an open matte version of the movie. It's super, like, what I think happened is it was recorded off of a DVD and put onto VHS.
Wow.
Because there are digital artifacts all throughout where, like, Peter Parker will turn his head and then it, like, glitches out on the side of his face.
Oh.
But it's not an analog error. It's like a digital error. And then it kind of was a giveaway that it shows the DVD menu at the end of the tape.
Shit, Felix is back.
Hey,
nice one.
Hey,
What's up,
thanks
Bull
for having
Sticks?
me.
In the
Thanks for
house.
having me.
How's it going?
And then also it was an open matte version because in several shots you could just see the boom mic hovering over people's heads.
like what was it, the dude in the wheelchair? Like his bald shiny head, and like this boom mic is like an inch away from his face. And me and Dan were like, what if they put some ink on that microphone and just like boom, it's like boom stamp, like the boom mic operator was just like a huge jerk to everyone. But like we actually saw like at least like 10% of the movie that we weren't supposed to see. At any time. There's usually an inch to like a half inch like of just extra screen I've never seen before.
It's always interesting to see a movie open matte like that. I'd like to collect open matte versions. Like,
can you buy them? Like before last night, I didn't even know what open matte meant. Like,
yeah, because a lot of films are shot in like a full frame, and then they just matte off the top and bottom of the frame.
The matte bars. That's what you're talking about.
And then open matte is without any of that picture blacked out.
Got it. Okay.
I remember seeing Pee-wee's Big Adventure in theaters, and they didn't use the right lens when projecting it, and it basically like it was completely unclipped, like you could see everything in the frame, And it was funny because like
Did you see boom mics a lot?
yeah, like in every shot you could just see like the entire equipment crew. In one shot you could see like dolly tracks. And,
oh wow, that's cool.
like I was like, is this supposed?
Did you not know? Like this is Pee-wee. Like it could just be weird.
Well,
like...
towards the end of the movie, you know how it like turned like it gets very like meta and like shows like movie stuff. I was like, was the rest of the movie like that? I was genuinely trying to remember.
Yeah, I remember Alex Cox talking. I think in his commentary for Repo Man. He was talking about how for the longest time, every VHS release of Repo Man did the open mat. They didn't do the proper matting.
Oh, wow.
And he said, yeah, you could see dolly track and boom mics and all this other stuff. And he said for years people thought that was intentional.
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh yeah, Alex Cox, like he's so weird and anarchic. He does all this crazy stuff.
It's meta, man.
Yeah,
it's
they
totally
thought it was
meta.
there on purpose.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And then Criterion's like, we'll fix all that.
Yeah.
Like, we got this.
It's funny when you get weird directors like that. Like, remember we were at Ebert Fest one year and we saw Synecdoche, New York, and there were the people there that told the story that they saw Synecdoche, New York in theaters and the projector broke. And she said everyone was just in the theater like, whoa. And they were like just sitting in the dark for 10 minutes like, I can't believe he's doing this. Like, this is incredible.
We just had an experience like
We did
that.
have an experience like
Yeah.
that, actually.
Because I was thinking about this Radiohead
Hi, Eddie.
show recently. There was this Radiohead show where they started playing and their instruments were out of tune, so they took a couple minutes to tune their instruments, and people thought it was a new song. And my wife tweeted
man.
like, "Holy shit, this new Radiohead song is unbelievable! They're breaking new ground with this." And then like the actual show started, they're like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, and like, yeah, I saw that article. And I was like, oh, I actually saw Radiohead a couple months ago, and it was an awesome performance. But like, I could understand how somebody might think that because like some of the instruments they bring out are really, really unusual. And like, I think it's Johnny Greenwood, like their lead guitar player, like brought out this huge machine with a lot of plugs and chords, and like I could see if he was messing with that, somebody might think it's a song. But like for the mass amount of people that tweeted about there being a new radio song that's being unleashed right now, like, and they're just like, what? Like we're just trying to fix what's going on here. Like, yeah, what? Sounds like Seven Nation Army. Like,
Skin a Donkey, New York.
Skin a Donkey, New York.
Synecdoche.
You should watch Skin a Donkey, New York
By
because,
Charlie Kaufman, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a different movie.
Skin a Donkey.
I think
New
I
York.
saw that one on Pornhub.
Yeah, that one. That was on HBO last night. Skin a Donkey, New York.
Lost the connection. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, I think they lost the connection. I
Okay.
think we're good.
All right. Yeah, looks like
Yeah,
we're
you
having
missed a lot. Show's over.
We're wrapping
No,
up.
yeah,
roll
we're-
credits.
Let's so this is Video Drone. I'm DisRegarding Henry, and I'm joined by some guests this week again.
No, I don't know how the camera works yet. I'm not as I'm waving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's
I'm
weird.
Felix.
I'm Danny.
Sometimes you just have to like jump back to your physical space instead
Yeah.
of looking at the screen.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
did that a few weeks ago. I was like, somebody asked me about the Spring Breakers poster over there, and I was like, oh yeah, the Spring Breakers poster. And I tried pointing to it, but I couldn't get the right shoulder. Then I realized I could just look behind me.
Yeah, like it would kind of help maybe, but
Yeah.
you know, somebody keeps talking about Blue Ruin. Let's knock this out real fast. Have any of you guys seen it?
Have you seen Blue Ruin? I have a feeling that's your kind of film. I have seen Blue Ruin.
I saw Blue Ruin.
You saw it?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
I really liked it.
You liked it?
I
Yeah.
I did. I think that it takes the revenge movie and kind of puts it on its ass because like the main protagonist, you know, isn't somebody that is like a John Wick or like, you know, is like
Oh
a
yeah,
you
he's
know,
just like a normal guy.
just you know, just a really
No
even
superpowers.
Yeah, even less than normal. You know, he's acting more on fear and impulse rather than being like, all right, this is how we're gonna do things, and I'm gonna get this gun, I'm gonna have this body armor, and all. It's like it's just literally just a honest to God revenge story of something that you could almost see happening like in the news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I liked about it was, you know, it felt very real. It
Yeah,
didn't feel
it's
like
very low key, very
Yeah.
natural.
it's underplayed, I think, but in a really good way. Then like the
very
ending-
tense.
Yeah, oh yeah, very very tense. And I mean, Denny hasn't seen it, so I won't go too much further. But
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was very good.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
writer-director Jeremy Saulnier, I think is how
yeah,
you say
he's
his
good,
name.
man. Yeah,
I think it
fits
was
my
his
hat.
second movie, but yeah, he's really turning out to be quite a talent. I think
Yeah.
Blue Ruin was financed through Kickstarter.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting project to have funded through crowdfunding
Right.
instead of like you know, I guess something that people immediately recognize. It's like, oh, bring that back. It was just kind of this guy that wanted to make this intense little movie, got the financing, and then, put it out there.
Right.
Then he followed that up with Green Room, which I thought was even better than
Green
Blue
Room.
Ruin.
Have you seen Green Room yet, Danny?
No.
Yeah, Green Room is really intense. It's like an even further refinement of the tension and the suspense and the violence of Blue Ruin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, like the budget was way bigger, I think, with Green Room. I mean,
I don't know if it was way bigger. I guess on that scale, because like Blue Ruin was made for like $1 million, maybe less, and Green Room was probably done like for a couple million. So I guess he does technically have double the budget, but it's still kind of like peanuts on a movie scale.
Well, I mean, the thing is the Green Room primarily takes place in this kind of one environment, and the money they're saving from settings and locations, they're able to put
on the USS Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Captain Picard loses it.
Yeah, Picard hires.
They get that infection that makes you drunk, and Picard thinks he's a neo-Nazi, and the crew has to stop him.
It's the best What If Star Trek episode ever.
Pretty much, it's really intense, and there's but I mean, coming from people who live in the Pacific Northwest and like punk rock music, that movie kind of hit home for me.
It's about a punk band.
It's totally about a punk band, and I loved it. So Blue Ruin. Thumbs up.
Nazi punks. Fuck off.
Nazi punks. No, yeah. That's right. They kick off with this really anti-Nazi song, and everyone gets all pissed off. But yeah,
isn't that a Dead Kennedy song?
It is. Yeah, they say that they cover it. Yeah. This is a cover. And then they just kind of go into it. But
that's a good one. I'm interested to see what Saulnier does next. People are saying it's got to be another color movie because he did Blue Ruin, Green Room. Next has got to be like Red something or Yellow something.
Red Dog. That's
Red Dog.
There you go.
Whoa, what's he gonna do now?
You just called it Red Dog.
Red Dog. If you're listening, dude.
Hey Jeremy,
look for me.
You can only do color movies. Can't do anything else. I loved Green Room fucking loads. Also thought it was better than Blue Ruin.
Yeah.
That's still a great film though. Yeah, not knocking Blue Ruin. That is still
all.
a really intense movie. But yeah, I thought Green Room was just, it showed he was getting even better. So I'm really excited to see what Saulnier does next.
I wish I knew what your name was, person who's talking about 12 Angry Men and Reservoir Dogs, and asked originally about...
I can't read his name.
I can't read, or her name, I can't tell. It could be a him or a her, but...
I think this is the guy, he used to go by the handle Omar Little, which I think is a character from The Wire.
Oh,
so I think, I sometimes refer to him as Omar, but I don't know his actual name. Let's see what else we got here. Zach Hayes. Have you guys heard or checked out The Devil's Candy? I heard it's a pretty underrated horror film this year. It's out to rent digitally now, but I haven't got around to watching it yet. I haven't heard of that one. You guys know that one?
Devil's Candy. I mean, it sounds like something I'd eat, so I don't know why I wouldn't watch it. But.
What was the name of that book about Bonfire of the Vanities?
I think that was Devil's Candy.
Yeah, I thought that's what he was talking about. I was like, oh, that's
I guess
like
it's a horror movie.
No, I haven't heard of the movie, no.
Oh, Sasha Popovich is my real name.
Hi,
Sasha.
Hey,
I'll call you Sasha.
Sasha! All right.
Yeah, but I haven't heard of Devil's Candy. I'll have to check it out.
No, I haven't.
I got my list of movies to check out over here.
There you go.
I write down Devil's Candy.
The devil, she made sweet candy. It makes me think of that President of the United States of America song.
Yeah, there's a book called The Devil's Candy, which is about the making of Brian De Palma's Bonfire of the Vanities. It's actually a really interesting glimpse behind the scenes of the making of a Hollywood movie, because it's not just like your standard EPK stuff or making of thing where it's like, oh, everyone was so excited to work together and the script was so good. It's like all about the petty arguments and the egos and all the shit that can just go wrong on a giant Hollywood production.
It's a case where the story behind the movie is more interesting than the movie itself.
Yeah, you wouldn't think the making of Bonfire of the Vanities, because like the movie's really bad, but
I don't think it's as bad as its reputation makes it out to be.
Is that the one where Tom Cruise punches a horse?
That's Far and Away.
Oh, Far and Away. Okay, got it.
Does he punch a horse in that one? Far and Away?
Yeah.
That's he does. Okay.
Irish.
The Ron Howard movie. For a while, Far and Away had the distinction of being the last movie ever shot on 70mm.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. 70mm's coming back, but for a while, probably a decade or more, it was Far and Away.
I thought Hamlet did 70mm. It was like
98. I think Hamlet was before.
Oh, I thought it was after. Oh, yeah.
I think Far and Away might have been 99. I don't remember though.
Who cares? It's Far Away. You know? Nobody cares about that movie.
I'm glad, that 70mm has come back and more movies are being shot on that format.
Isn't that the title of Ron Howard's new Star Wars movie, Far and Away?
Han Solo, Far and Away.
Far away.
Far and away.
Yeah.
Far and away. With Han Solo and gang.
Yeah.
We need to go see Dunkirk in 70mm.
Dunkirk! That doesn't come out for like another month.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's July 21st.
I want to
So
make
weeks.
another trip to Portland because the Hollywood Theater, which is where we saw The Bad Batch, which we'll be talking about soon, they are going to play Endless Poetry, Alejandro Jodorowsky's new movie in July. I definitely want to try and get up to Portland to see that.
And
if Dunkirk's playing, because Hollywood Theater is equipped to play 70mm,
it
right?
is.
Yeah,
You gotta
so
buy
if
tickets
Dunkirk is playing
far in advance,
70mm, then I'd love to see that. What was that?
I'll keep my ear to the ground because Dan is right that will sell out. So as soon as I find out tickets are on sale, I'll buy them for us.
Yeah, the 70mm tickets sell out in a snap.
Yeah.
You got it ready, ready for it.
And I mean, their screen is pretty good size too when they fully kind of open it up. So,
but yeah, kind of going back to what we initially kind of started with, talking about experiences that we thought were a part of the movie. But we were kind of talking about that when we sort of dropped it.
Yeah.
So
it's a free-flowing conversation.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. But we just watched The Bad Batch in theaters when we were in Portland.
Yeah.
And that was a situation.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had our own little mini Radiohead situation, where we were all watching the movie, and there was something that we couldn't quite tell if it going on, that we couldn't tell if it was a part of the movie or not, and we put up with it for a long time because we thought it was a part of the movie, and then we found out it wasn't. During the first, I'd say 45 to 50 minutes of the movie, there was a squeaky noise,
really high pitched, like almost to the level of nails on chalkboard, like a really high metallic,
kind of like this.
Nope, that's not doing it for me.
More irritating.
Yeah,
but almost nails on chalkboard, like that kind of a screech, but like a really like metallic, like wiry kind of.
But the movie,
I don't know if I'm doing anything.
There's like a thing there's a scene at the beginning of the movie when she gets into like this abandoned car. I thought like maybe it's like the rear view mirror or something, like blowing in the wind and squeaking, and then it just kept going, and then you realize it's just somebody sitting back there like
when's this gonna be over? When's this gonna be over?
And
I kept thinking, why don't they just move to another seat? Why do they have to keep doing that?
But I think most of the theater thought it was a part of the movie because the opening sequence is very quiet and desolate, and it almost sounded
sparse.
It almost sounded like it was trying to make you feel uneasy.
Right.
Scenes.
Kind of like the ceaselessly ringing telephone at the beginning of Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah, like I was one of them. I honestly thought it was like a technique of like, oh wow, this is getting really annoying. But I think that's what she's trying to do. I think she's trying to really annoy you, and then like it just kept going and going and going into the next scene. It's like maybe it's not a part of the movie.
Yeah, for me it was like it was absolutely irritating, and I leaned over to Dana, and I don't talk during movies, but I leaned over to Denny, and I was like, dude, like, is that fucking me, or is like what is going on here? And Denny's just like, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I can't take this. Like, what is it? So it
did eventually stop.
I think somebody went to tell the theater.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Because I heard people get up and leave.
Yeah.
And then I heard somebody come back, and then after that it stopped.
It stopped.
Okay,
there was like 10 minutes of the movie left.
Yeah.
like
I don't think it was that bad.
No, I mean it was definitely very irritating to me. I'm kind of sensitive to like noises like that. Like, I remember a couple months ago when we saw Patton Oswalt live, and that guy wouldn't stop fucking with his water bottle, and like Patton Oswalt's talking about like his wife dying. It's pretty serious. Yeah, exactly.
I'm one of those people. I've always got to fidget with things.
Yeah, and it's like I very politely was like, excuse me, like would you stop? And he was kind of like, oh yeah, It's like, but it's like what are you doing? Like I paid all this money to see this show, and you're just like, like. Just have a little respect for like the greater good.
Yeah. Well, as someone who has a lot of nervous habits like that, I gotta say most of the time it's unconscious.
Like, and that's why I was very polite. Yeah. I wasn't like, "Hey, asshole!" I was like, "Excuse me, like, would you mind?" Like, just
like I'm always irritating you. I'm always irritating my dad. I don't even realize I'm doing that stuff most of the time.
Well, like when you do it, it's okay because I love you. But like, and we're just like watching like a movie at home. But like this guy, like like Patton Oswalt's like one of my favorite people on the face of the planet. And like I'm like hanging on every one of his words, and I'm just getting pulled out of his performance because I'm already having a hard time hearing him. And because we were pretty far back, and like the sound was okay, but I was having a hard time hearing him, honestly, because I got this water bottle in my ear. Yeah, it's like, and I was very polite, and like I wasn't rude or mean or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I usually am. I mean, because I figured the guy was doing it unconsciously, or subconsciously. He wasn't unconscious in his chair.
Hey, wake up, asshole.
Hey, idiot, wake up. But sorry, I just woke up and I'm just like allergy. I'm not used to like the Bay Area's allergies and whatnot, so excuse me if I dab my nose. What are people saying?
Eddie Moriarty says, as an Irish person, I can say the Irish accents in Far and Away are generally regarded as the worst ever committed to the screen.
That really makes me happy.
It does make me happy.
Can't wait to see Jodorowsky's new film. Just watched his Dance of Reality again, but the Bad Batch is on my list as well.
Yeah, Bad
I want to
Batch.
rewatch Dance of Reality as well.
Yeah, me too. That was a great movie.
But yeah, Endless Poetry is the follow-up to Dance of Reality in his autobiographical film series. I think he said he's going to try and make like 5 altogether.
Wow.
I hope he does.
Yeah, he's like 87 now, but
Yeah.
if we get 5 more Jodorowsky movies and he's like 106 still making movies, that'd be great.
I mean,
but
his
he's
mind
also
is still young. He's still got all the energy.
Oh
in him.
yeah. You see him in an interview, he's just like he's still so there. He's still so full of energy and life. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
He's still somebody that's so committed to creativity and artistic expression. He's also planning the El Topo sequel finally after all these decades.
Wow.
He says it's going to be his next movie. Now that Endless Poetry is done, he says he's going to try and do Sons of El Topo, and then after that do some more autobiographical stuff.
Nice.
Finally do his Marilyn Manson movie.
Yeah. Oh man, I wanted to see that one so bad.
Yeah,
King
yeah.
Shot. You
Yeah.
know that one?
I remember reading an article about like lesbians and like twins and
Oh no, that was Marilyn Manson's movie.
Oh,
that was going to
okay.
be called Phantasmagoria. I don't think he
okay.
ever ended up making that.
No, he didn't.
Alejandro Jodorowsky was going to do a movie called King Shot, which was described as a metaphysical gangster film. It was going to take place in the middle of the desert in a casino run by the mob. And it was going to star Nick Nolte and Asia Argento. Marilyn Manson was going to play a 300-year-old pope. The plot was going to revolve around the discovery of a man buried in the desert who was the size of King Kong.
What?
Yeah, it was going to be produced by David Lynch.
What?
I know, and it never happened. I was so upset.
It's one of those stories that's like too good for like for it to be real. Like,
yeah.
it's just like everyone's like everybody's in it. Everything's gonna be great. David Lynch, Jodorowsky. It's like nope.
He storyboarded the whole film as a comic book. It's out there. Like,
wow.
He's essentially already made it. He just needs to make it happen.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
same thing with Dune. Like he has
Yeah,
Dune,
Dune.
like
Yeah, he
paper form. It's like
wrote
this
the whole
big.
thing out.
I know. I watched that documentary and I was like, I wonder
Most-
how big the script is, and it's seriously like,
It's like bigger than a phone book.
yeah.
Most every one of his movies, has already been like just basically completely turned into a comic book. Sons of El Topo is completely storyboarded as a comic book. Like all these movies are just ready to go. If someone just gives him the money, he'll just make it happen because it's all there. It's all planned out.
We should all make a sizable donation to the
We
Jodorowsky
should,
Film Relief Fund.
I remember I always used to talk about lottery movies. Like if I won the lottery, like I would just want to spend that money on getting certain films made,
Right.
like A Topiary and King Shot, Sons of El Topo, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So to get into the Bad Batch, Volstick says, "Oh shit! I just IMDb'd Bad Batch. Sounds great. I note it's the director who did A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, and that was very good. Stylish AF."
I didn't see her debut feature.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, this is the Bad Batch is the latest film from Ana Lily Amirpour.
Ana Lily Amirpour.
Yes.
Ana Lily Amirpour.
She first came into notice with her debut film, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which is described as an Iranian vampire spaghetti western. Sort of a very strange genre mashup of Western and gangster film and vampire film and horror film and social realist film. I have seen
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. It's got a very strong Jim Jarmusch vibe. It's very quiet. It's very minimalist. But there's also kind of this grindhouse aspect to it in the way it's playing with all of these genres. And I think it kind of has a bit more of a Baroque sensibility and a little bit more garishness than Jarmusch has. Jarmusch is very low-key. I think Amirpour has her own style of mixing like these exploitation elements in with these art house elements, which sometimes Jarmusch does. Like Ghost Dog is kind of a play with the samurai genre and the gangster film genre, but I think Amirpour is a more extreme version of that. I liked A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I thought it was really interesting and very stylish, but I didn't really get involved in it, you know, on an emotional level. The Bad Batch, her second film, I found I enjoyed much more. It still had the same stylishness and the weird playing with genre, but this one I felt it had more meat to the story, and I actually could get more invested in the characters this time around. The Bad Batch is being described as a dystopian cannibal love story. So it's another very strange genre mix-up of spaghetti western and post-apocalyptic sci-fi. And yeah, cannibalism and love stories and action movies
And Keanu Reeves.
And Keanu Reeves,
yeah.
man.
So yeah, basically it takes place at an unspecified time. It's not really stated whether it's an alternate past or alternate present or a possible future, but basically it takes place in a world where any kind of social deviant or any kind of unwanted person is just banished into the deserts of Texas in this fenced-off area, and they're referred to as the Bad Batch.
Right.
And they've kind of formed these communities in the middle of the desert. And this woman sort of gets thrown out amongst the Bad Batch, is kidnapped by cannibals, has one of her arms and one of her legs sawn off so that they can be fed to bodybuilders.
And that's not a spoiler. That's like the beginning.
Yeah, this is the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Starts.
And then she eventually makes her way to like this oasis run by a mysterious, like almost cult leader called the Dream, played by Keanu Reeves. Then one of the cannibals' his daughter is kidnapped, and she decides she's going to help him, and in the process they start to fall in love. So it's a very bizarre story, but I thought pretty well executed.
Yeah, very well executed. I think this one has been pretty divisive, and I can see why. Because
you've been telling me about that there have been some very negative reactions to it.
Yeah, because it is a very quiet movie that's sort of it's sort of more about the atmosphere and the tone more so than progressing
it's
the
a
story.
tonal stylistic piece,
which is
really
why
more than anything.
I would really recommend seeing it in a movie theater if you have the chance to see it, because it's the kind of movie I think it would be best served to really immerse yourself in it and not watch it like it's not one to kind of half watch on the
it's
TV.
not a heavily story driven movie. If you just kind of put it on, it'll probably, maybe that's why I liked it more than A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, because I watched A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night just on Netflix in my living room, and it's kind of like kind of interesting. This one, Bad Batch, we saw at the Hollywood Theater in Portland on a beautiful projection on this huge screen and this dynamite sound system that just immersed you in the atmospherics of the movie, which are so well constructed, and I was able to just feel completely lost in this world. I thought it was great.
I think that sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, that's there's long patches of the movie where there's not a lot going on, and it doesn't even really, some scenes don't even really connect to the larger scheme of the film, but those are some of the more memorable sequences. Like my favorite sequence was when Jason Momoa draws a portrait of Jim Carrey. And it does progress the story a little bit, because Jim Carrey wants Jason Momoa is like this talented portrait artist. He's a cannibal bodybuilder portrait artist. And
I think that's a far more interesting character than Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what he's going to do.
I guess that's true. They might go dark and gritty.
Yeah. And,
Aqua Hombre. You're on the wrong side of the ocean, Holmes.
And Jim Carrey has some information about where his daughter is. He plays like this sort of homeless drifter between the two.
Desert man, loner.
Yeah, because there's like the dream world and like the cannibal world. He's sort of like a bridge between those two worlds.
Yeah, which she's great too. Like
he really is fantastic.
Jim Carrey was pretty damn good, wasn't he?
Yeah, but Jim Carrey wants a portrait of himself for basically in exchange for the information that he has about his daughter, and it's like a 10-minute sequence probably. Where
I don't think it's that long.
It's pretty like that whole scene where they first see each other and then.
Like the whole sequence.
Yeah, and then like he finds out he can draw, and then he wants him to draw him, and then he just they kind of sit there for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And just,
you just watch somebody draw a portrait.
Yeah, and I feel like in any movie where you kind of have to keep things moving, you're kind of on a schedule. You can maybe have that scene, but jump cut it a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe have a montage there, but you just kind of see it all play out, and you just hear like the wind, just.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It has a Sergio Leone feel in that way, in that it's not afraid of silences and stillness and contemplation. I was getting a really strong Leone vibe from a lot of sequences like that.
Yeah.
That are just observations of behavior. It reminds me of that opening to Once Upon a Time in the West, where the point is it's just like 3 bored guys waiting for a train to show up.
Yeah.
They're just kind of standing there, kind of trying to occupy their attention with diversions or something, and then finally the train pulls up and a shootout happens.
Yeah.
It had that kind of feel to me.
Absolutely. And it did feel like, I didn't feel like it was completely aimless. I did feel like it was leading to something. Like if you stick with it, then it'll take you on a journey. You just have to kind of trust it to lead you there. It
feels like it's also building relationships wordlessly through sequences like that. I think also the soundtrack really helps it helped me, like, it helped hold my attention the entire time, because I thought the soundtrack was so well done. This is like watching this movie in the Hollywood theater, which is such a good theater. It reminded me of how much better the theatrical experience can be than the streaming experience. Like, I've been to our local theater. It's just, a standard multiplex. It's an awful theater. And every time I see a movie there, I'm always just like, God, theaters are such a waste of money. I don't know why I bother. But then I see something in a really good theater. It reminds me of, like, holy shit, that's the experience I want to have, where you're just immersed in the sound system and great picture, and you can get lost in a movie.
Yeah. Well, one thing that kind of sets the Hollywood theater apart is that it's a non-profit theater. So, I mean, they are funded by the people who go there. So if they don't put on top-notch, projections, and if they don't have that good sound, I mean, it's not going to survive. Yeah. So, I mean, all the money they make, they reinvest back into the theater. You know what I mean? It's a historical landmark, actually. It
is.
And, I mean, it's, the first movie I ever saw there was The Hateful Eight.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I saw it in 70 mil?
I did, and I missed Tarantino by like 2 days.
Oh, shit.
Tarantino actually went to the Hollywood theater and was like, "This is better than a foot fetish." Like he loved it. Like he really, really loved it, and he said like he thought that was his favorite projection thus far.
Yeah,
and
he did say that. Like they quoted him saying that this was the best projection of The Hateful Eight he had seen.
Right, wow. And I mean it's a badass theater, but like I said, they can't survive without people being like, "This is amazing. Yeah. Take my money."
Being passionate.
Exactly.
I remember they were showing like lists of their patrons before the movie started. So like, thank you for these people for donating money for like new doors for the theaters. Right. And Todd Haynes' name was on there. Todd Haynes lives in Portland now.
Right.
So I thought it was cool, to see that he's dishing out the dollar bills for a theater.
Right. But
I think you didn't like The Bad Batch as much as we did.
I definitely don't think it was a bad movie by any means.
Was it really your kind of deal though?
I guess I just put too much expectation in it. I've been following The Bad Batch for months, and
it had a great trailer.
It had an awesome trailer, and I was like, "This is gonna be fucking insane! Like this is gonna be crazy." And it's like, and it is, but I don't know. There was just something there that I guess I was expecting like some like almost like Mad Max meets Jim Jarmusch, like really intense stuff.
I thought it was that Mad Max meets Jim Jarmusch, but
it was like it was. I mean, Mad Max is like when I say that, I mean like the explosiveness of it and like the colorfulness of it and like
manic quality.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a little bit more unhinged than it was, and I went into this like beautifully looking, beautifully sounding film that was really, in some scenes, pretty explosive, but mainly really well reserved and
very
really
deliberately
held back.
Paced. Yeah,
and I'm okay with that. It's just
But you went in expecting something else.
I did go in expecting something else, but I mean that isn't to say that that's not the reason why I wasn't crazy about it. There were just certain things about it that I was really, really invested in, and things I weren't. Like Keanu Reeves, I thought was incredible.
This is actually, I think, his best performance that I've ever seen.
I really loved Keanu Reeves.
He really commanded the screen in that role.
I mean, like the things that they choose to talk about with his character too are really unconventional and different. And I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan. I mean, ask these guys, they know. Like, there's one man in Hollywood who has my heart besides Kevin Spacey. It's Keanu Reeves.
Like, we even like Knock Knock. Like,
oh god, I love Knock Knock and like Point Break. Like,
you guys watched that one. I missed out on that.
It was good, man.
Keanu,
it's really worth it. I loved it.
Free fucking pizza.
You can't kill me. I gave you free pizza. Anyway, so I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, and I also, I really like Jason. I keep calling him Jason Mimosa. Totally not his name. Yeah. Jason Momoa. I mean, like, I really did like the movie. It didn't really, I guess, capture my imagination and take it. And maybe that's partially because for the first 45, 50 minutes, there was a really high-pitched metallic squeaking. It was kind of hard for me to get engaged because, like, it was literally, like, a painful noise. Yeah. And I was getting pissed at the filmmaker. I'm like, fuck you. Like, if you want me to spend, like, $12 and see your little art house desert movie meets Jim Jarmusch, like have some respect to not, like, assault me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here. I want to see it. Like, why are you doing this? And then I finally realized, oh, that's not the filmmaker. That's like a chair or like a speaker that has a buzz in it. Like, something's going on. So, like, then I kind of, like, let go. But I feel like there's a couple pointless things, or, like, things that maybe, to me, seem pointless. Maybe you guys got more out of them. But, like, Giovanni Ribici's character. I was like, I wanted to see something happen there. I wanted to see something progress there.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, really, like, being crazy.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm Giovanni Ribici, and it's just like, I don't want, like, his head to get blown off or anything like that. I just want to see something. Like, I just want to,
like a payoff to the character.
Right. I just want to, that's a good way to put it. A payoff to the character. Plus, the motive of the main antagonist or protagonist. The motive. I didn't really always understand her motive as far as what was really propelling her to do these things. That actress, Watershed, what's her name?
I think her name is Suki Waterhouse.
Suki Waterhouse.
She plays the main girl.
I mean, I don't know. Like, her character was probably the one I was least invested in, honestly.
She's kind of most of the time she's kind of just a blank slate.
Yeah,
you don't really know what she's thinking.
Because, like, Jason Momoa is a powerhouse. Like, people are kind of, like, shitting on that guy in reviews, but I loved him. Oh, yeah, Rum Diary. There you go, Sasha. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of Giovanni Ribisi. Like, he's a crazy character in Rum Diaries, but he has a payoff.
Yeah.
He contributes something. In the Bad Batch,
he was great in that Rum
Yeah,
Diary.
he really
stole
was.
The show.
He totally did. But in Bad Batch, like, he didn't do anything. Like, he literally was just like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like, in the background of a shot. Like,
sticks his fingers in his butt and smells them. Like,
it
just doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, he's almost like Watto from episode 1. Like, he just like, he's walking around the desert, but he doesn't really contribute anything. Actually, no, Watto contributes way more because he, like, sells Anakin, but that's besides the point. But, like, I don't know, it just, like, there's certain things like that that are like, give me something here. Like, I feel like if she had a bit more experience as a director and possibly, did she write it?
Yes.
Like, maybe as a writer, that she would maybe give us a little bit more, because obviously she's not afraid of a fucking long runtime. The movie's it's about 2 hours, isn't it?
Just under 2 hours.
Right. So, I mean, like, give us a little bit more is kind of what I was expecting, because I feel like if she had made this movie in a couple years, it probably would have blown me away.
Yeah.
I think I disagree with that. I liked it more than you did, and I was willing to go along with those more unusual moments that didn't really seem to pay off as just part of the world she was creating, part of the atmosphere she was trying to build. I don't think this is a movie with a lot of themes that it's trying to tackle. I don't think there's really a message that it tries to leave you with. I remember, this was another thing I love about theaters in Portland. When you're walking out, you actually hear people discussing the movie. You hear conversations happening. Our local theater here in this crappy small town, everybody just files out like texting, checking their phones. Yeah. And I love being in Portland and actually hearing discussions happen. And I did hear a couple people saying, like, it meanders endlessly, like, it doesn't have a point. Like, okay.
See, I didn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. I didn't feel like that. If that's your reaction, okay. Everybody,
at least you had a reaction.
Yeah,
to it.
Everybody reacts differently.
You're verbally kind of putting that out there.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, it does meander. It doesn't really have a point, but I was okay with that. I looked at it as more of a stylistic tonal exercise, and I think just I find just simply something like that as a valid artistic expression, because I think it demonstrates craft, it demonstrates vision, and it gives you an experience. Like, I don't always need like a really solid message for a movie to leave me with. I like being a little bit confused sometimes, or I like just stepping into a world or stepping into an artist's imagination. And that's what this one felt like to me. That's the way I took it, as just this really great exercise in atmosphere and tone.
Yeah.
And I love the soundtrack too. I thought it had a great
the soundtrack's phenomenal.
Not just sound design, but just the music choices I thought were great. Like how the cannibals listen to all of this like bubblegum pop music as they're like chopping people's limbs off.
Right.
Well, that's what I responded to the most. I love it when you can really get lost in a different world. It's similar to it's recognizable. There's things that you recognize about it, but they sort of have their own operations of how it really how it runs and the daily lives of
rules,
people.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was most well done about it. I love that kind of opening sequence introducing the cannibals, where it illustrates that the alpha males in the society are all like bodybuilders, giant people.
They're the only ones with a steady access to protein, so they can build all this muscle.
Yeah, and then you see like the bodies being harvested for meat, and they're just like these scrawny little guys in chains.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like if you want to survive in this world, you got to be like,
it's
you gotta be big, you gotta be tough.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then you see the other side, and even though the Giovanni, I kind of felt similar about the Ribisi character, where it was like he'd come on, he'd leave, and it'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, all right,
but
like
it did illustrate sort of like the other side of that, where you have this peaceful society on the other side, but like there's kind of like this instability, and strangeness to it, and you still can't really be sure. Like, he's a pretty unpredictable character. You don't know if he could do harm to himself or to others,
right?
Because he's kind of just wandering around hitting people. Like, well, not Momoa, Ribisi.
Because
he's walking around mumbling to himself. He hits something out of a guy's hand. He's like, okay, well, this other camp is like, it's peaceful, but I mean, there's still degenerates, crazy.
Another element of unpredictability.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I was really surprised by Momoa too. I haven't really ever.
Great.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. I guess you were saying he's pretty good on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean, all he does is like da 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 da, like just speaks in a made up language. But I mean, he definitely. I'm just joking. But,
I hope that's what he does for Aquaman.
He's just a big caveman with a large club. No, I mean, he definitely has some tender moments on screen, and he is very good in Game of Thrones. And don't talk about Game of Thrones. Don't anybody comment anything about Game of Thrones. Don't. Well, I don't want anyone to spoil anything for you guys because you haven't seen it. So I don't want anyone to talk about anything in the show. But so don't start that discussion in the comments.
I was very impressed by Momoa. I thought he commanded the screen very well. I think you have to have a very natural, solid presence to do a performance like this, where you're not really saying anything. It's all just about your face and your body language and the presence you have on screen. And I thought, he always held my attention. I thought he was always compelling in these quiet, tense moments. And I felt the same about Suki Waterhouse. I looked at it as almost like a Sergio Leone character. Like Clint Eastwood's kind of a blank slate in all those spaghetti westerns. But I just thought there's kind of like a tone or like a feeling that you get from the character. And just it's all just about looking at their face and seeing them act and react. So I thought she was very good. I got engaged with the characters in this.
Yeah, I think the acting all across the board was pretty great. I do think it felt a little long by the end. I think probably around the 3/4 mark, I was sort of ready for things to wrap up. But I don't really. It never felt like unbearable to me. Like because the last section is the Keanu Reeves section, and all that stuff's really good.
Yeah,
he starts becoming a really major character.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he's just kind of his presence.
Yeah. He kind of is like a polter, like a phantom. Just kind of flows in, flows out. See, like the thing is I think that it might be coming off that I don't like the movie. I do like the movie. I gave it a favorable review. I just wasn't quite as... It just didn't capture my imagination as much as I was... I mean, I loved exactly the segment you're talking about. I think it is the best scene in the movie where Momoa is, writing... Or, drawing the portrait. And Jim Carrey's like this crazy wanderer.
Doesn't speak a line of dialogue.
No, he doesn't say anything. But, I don't know. It just
he just talks with his anus is all.
Yeah, and I loved.
Yeah, he's still doing that.
But yeah, I mean, like I really did love Jason Momoa. I loved, I loved Keanu Reeves. I think that he was my favorite character probably in the entire movie. But I mean, I don't know. It just not on all levels. It didn't click for me, and I think that's okay. I think that's not a big deal. I mean, I took a gamble on it, and I mean, I would go see it again. You know what I mean? It's just. I mean, sometimes like you can't really force that emotional connection with a movie. It's either there or it's not there. And that's it. And then, especially like when my two best friends say they really loved a movie, and for me to kind of be like, I'm not really sure. Like, at first, my first instinct is like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not getting it. But it's like I don't really feel that way anymore. I mean, maybe for a second I'm like, oh, like maybe I'm missing some shit. But it's like it's okay to have a different opinion. It's okay to not. Yeah. I'd rather not force that connection so I can have a pleasant conversation with my dudes. Like no, I'd rather be like it didn't work for me on every single level, and I'm still thinking about that movie. Like I'm still trying to figure out exactly why it didn't work for me. I'm not when it comes to movies. I'm not really like the kind of person that's like, oh, it's incredible, and this is all the reasons why. I like a movie for me is an experience. I like to think about it. I like to take my time. Like a couple months ago, I one of my buddies from my old job, we went and saw Silence together.
Scorsese Silence.
Right, and my buddy I took with me to the movie is very much not a film guy, you know what I mean? Like he's very much, mainstream taste. Not to insult his intelligence, right? I'm not judging him at all. He's a very smart guy. He's a good person. Like he's one of my good buddies. But I didn't know what Silence was about. He didn't know what Silence was about. So we just kind of went into it, and as soon as it ended, like he was like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, let me get back to you in a month." You know what I mean? but I mean, like my first instinct was I absolutely loved it, and I was really surprised to hear him say that he liked it as much as he did. Silence for the average moviegoer is not an easy experience. Have any of you guys seen it?
I've seen Silence.
Okay,
and I liked it.
I really loved it. I was blown away by it. I wasn't expecting to like connect with it that deeply, but it really blew me. It captivated me. It blew me away. And I felt that in my gut. Whereas with Bad Batch, I felt like I would have to force that. Like I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I mean, like it didn't completely capture my imagination the way I was hoping it would.
Sometimes it's like the movies you can't even like explain like what the connection is. I kind of have that with my favorite movies. I almost can't even explain why they're my favorites. They just hit me in a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. Yeah, I don't always intellectualize things. I'm not always very good at explaining why I loved a film. Sometimes I am, but not all the time. And that is really the first reaction for me. It's a gut level reaction. It's an emotional reaction.
Absolutely.
I either love a film or I don't love a film, or I like it or I dislike it. It's an instinctual thing for me. And then I verbalize it and try to analyze it later on. But I'm trying not to think too much about it as I'm watching the film.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, what was my reaction? And it's like, or yeah, or nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, and there's just those flicks out there that just you.
And it's good that people, that the guy you saw the movie with, that he was willing to take that time to digest it.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like we don't do that anymore. Yeah, it's much. Like
it's that
people,
instant gratification of rating it on Mubi and and
then moving on to the next thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas like it takes time to really kind of appreciate art. Like I was just in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and like I went to the Louvre in Paris a few months before that, and it's like. When I was in the Louvre, like I was finally kind of understanding, like it's not like you just look at a painting as fast as you can, and like, oh, okay, this is a painting of a dog.
No, I've seen the Mona Lisa. Okay, move on.
Yeah, right.
Swipe,
and it's funny because like all the people in front of the Mona Lisa were just taking selfies and photos, but it's like there's something here. Like it's not like with a lot of art, like there's obviously more to it than just what you see on the surface. So like I was like watching this old man. He was looking at this portrait of a dog, and I was like. What the hell does he see? Like, it's just a dog. And then I started looking at it, and, like, there's people in the street behind the dog. And, like, there's birds in a tree, and then there's people in a window in a building. Like, there's way more to it than I thought. Then I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe he's connecting with this dog. Maybe it looks like a dog he used to have or something. Like, so it's like, you have to take time to appreciate art. And, I mean, movies, definitely the kind that we like to see are totally art. 100% art. And, which...
I even look at mainstream stuff as art. It's its own kind of art. Like entertaining people is an art form.
Yeah, of course. Which maybe we can use this as a transition to what we saw in Twin Peaks last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's
I don't
take
know,
a brief look at the chat real quick, see what
Yeah.
people are saying.
People are telling us we're stupid.
Yeah. I admire filmmakers that make films for them, not audiences. Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
think there needs to be a balance in the industry. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that there are people like Ana Lily Amirpour or Carlos Regadas or Shane Carruth, people like that really are just they're not really concerned with audience. They're not really concerned with money or success. It's like I've got a specific way of doing things, and I just want to make that happen.
Right.
I don't think that should be the only thing. I think there also should be the Spielbergs and the James Camerons and this whole
Right,
mix.
yeah, and that's the beautiful thing
But-
about art is that it's not all a certain way.
Yeah.
And each piece of art reflects to a different audience and a different crowd, and
Yeah.
everyone has a different reaction to it.
Yeah.
But I definitely do have a very deep love, for those films that don't seem to be made for anyone in particular, other
Right.
than just to express the mind of the artist behind them. Like, I mean, that's why I love Werner Herzog and
Right.
Armini Korine, people like that. I really respond to those kinds of films. But, I mean, I can also get into, Indiana Jones and stuff
Right.
like that, movies that are just entertainments.
But for me,
Yeah.
John Wick, I mean, like, I was
You're
really-
always talking about John
I
Wick.
can't stop, and I feel stupid because it's like, no, I don't feel stupid. Like, F you if you think I'm stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
No
just like,
shame.
I don't know, because I mean, like, a person I respect very much, I really respect their opinion, like, pooped all over John Wick and pooped all over the audiences who liked it and said how they're stupid and like this is like spoon-fed entertainment now. All you have to do is turn off your brain and accept
I
it.
dislike movies. I try to never call anyone stupid for liking a movie.
Right,
I
and
don't
it's like,
think that's fair.
like, and then this person I respect, I was kind of like, like you're kind of an ass, you know what I mean? Like, quit, don't do that because it's. I think that he's a little bit bitter about the movie industry, but it's like, you don't need to shit on people. If you don't like it, it's okay to not like it, but
Yeah.
you don't need to insult everyone who pays to go see Iron Man 3 or John Wick or
I used to totally be like that.
I know, and I
Total
did
snob.
too. So it's like I'm really trying to break past that and break away from people who think like that because it's just like why put that negativity out there? Like
Yeah.
at least
Why waste
at least,
your energy? Yeah.
Right. I mean, even if it is a cookie cutter, action hero or a cookie cutter superhero, like at least content is being generated. At least stuff is being made. People are still working. Like there's more to it than just what you see on the movie. Like think of how
And
many
also-
people were employed by that, Iron
Yeah.
Man 3 or whatever. Like I mean, it works. Like
And
at least
also-
content's still being made.
Yeah, and also you don't have to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Like
It's a totally it's a completely optional experience. Every film, like
you don't
I
go
learned-
to movie jail if
yeah,
you don't go see.
yeah.
Like,
That's the thing I've been thinking about a lot. It's like you don't have to think the right thing. There's no right way or wrong way to think or to analyze. There are no consequences for
Right.
disagreeing with the majority. You're not going to go to movie jail. There's no such place. You can think or say whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I make that choice too. I learned a long time ago I don't like Michael Bay's movies.
Right.
So I just don't watch them.
Yeah.
He's still out there doing movies. I don't hate him. I don't wish him any harm. I just don't watch the movies. They're not
Yeah.
for me.
It's like when people were like wanting like to send death threats and did send death threats to George Lucas. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
why?
I don't understand that.
Why?
Or
Like,
people that are glad, like that about the family tragedy that Zack Snyder experienced. 'cause
Yeah,
so he had to
like,
drop
oh
out
my
of
God.
Justice League. Like,
Like-
oh, thank God he got out of Justice League.
and,
Like,
and that's a really big
where's
reason.
your compassion?
Exactly.
Like, my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a really big reason why I've taken a huge step back from social media because I hate seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all these people are just trolls and
really-
they're so
yeah.
angry and so upset and like are just so nasty. It's like I don't want to be around that. So it's like it's funny because
Yeah.
trying to break into this industry,
I
it's
can
very
only
much
spend-
like social media based now.
Yeah, I can only spend a certain amount of time on social media.
Right.
Otherwise, I get worked up and
Yeah,
stressed
it's-
out. And
I can't
angry.
believe like
I really don't have the mind for it.
yeah, it's difficult. It's a nasty place. It is a barren wasteland. Like every once in a while, like you meet like a really nice person or you have like a connection. Like
Yeah.
I'm in like
Yeah,
a
there's
Facebook
some-
group where somebody recently had like a family member overdose on drugs, and like all these people came to their support
Yeah.
or offering. I'm always
Yeah.
here. Like it was a beautiful moment on social media that you don't really see very often.
To be fair, the people who are the most ignorant are the most loud on social
Yeah,
media.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's easy to go on to Facebook and see all these morons like, rah, rah, rah,
Right.
I think
But
I
it's-
think maybe we get a skewed perspective of people sometime because it's an instant thing.
Yeah.
People just have an immediate emotional reaction, post something awful, but that might not be necessarily how they always think or feel. It's just
Right.
in that
I mean,
moment they were having that reaction.
I work at a hotel, and there's been a lot of situations where somebody will come to check in. They've just gotten out of their car. They're stressed out. It's been a long day traveling. and like maybe we get the reservation wrong and they freak out. They're like, I'm supposed to have 2 beds. And then like they come back
One
the next
person, 2 beds.
Yeah. Then they come back the next day and say, hey, I'm sorry I yelled at you. Like I was really stressed out from that day on the road. I'm sorry. And we've gotten apologies quite a bit from people who freaked out at check-in. Once they get a good night's sleep and they're rested and they're feeling
and
better.
a meal.
Everyone has
exactly.
bad days.
Take a poop and brush your teeth. Just basic human things that you need to do.
Yeah, where it's like, yes, you can delete a post on Facebook, but it's like,
that's why
I feel like people, when they're in that state, they vent, they put it out there, and then suddenly, you get a skewed perspective of that person as a whole.
Yeah, it's an instant, what do you call it? It's an instant outlet for any kind of like emotion you have. It's an immediate instant outlet, and then you can kind of get that catharsis, and then you can move on.
But I mean, even then, with that being said, there is still genuinely some nasty shit that people just post that is not redeeming in any way. Even if you've had a good night's sleep, like some like death threats and like
that's taking it too far.
And there's a page I remember I showed you of this guy who has like cerebral palsy, and like he's pretty deformed, and like he tries making comedy videos, and the comments people leave on his videos are terrible, like like your mom should have had an abortion and you should be dead, and like it's like that stuff isn't redeeming. Like even after a good night's sleep and a shower and a meal, you're still a piece of shit for saying that. You know what I mean? And it's just like those kind of things are just like, it's not funny, it's just shock and awe, and it's just like people being at their worst.
I guess so.
I mean, like, and don't get me wrong, there are some who are probably like, I shouldn't have said that, blah blah blah, but it's like, I don't know.
As long as you have a healthy amount of shame, then okay.
That seems to be like small quantities nowadays.
But I think we all get a skewed idea of what people are like from social media because it's people sometimes at their worst, sometimes at their best. You really don't get a context for who that person is, just in day-to-day life.
I've heard it's also skewing our reality of what happiness is as well, because typically the people that spend a lot of time on social media and construct elaborate profiles that show like my vacation photos and like me with my family and all the smiles and laughter, typically research is being done showing the people who view that on a daily basis start measuring themselves on those photos of measuring themselves on other people's happiness leads to more severe depression in people.
Wow.
And when it's actually like everyone's sort of sharing that depression, because even the people posting those photos are living up to this false expectation of I have to appear happy and I have to appear like everything's all right.
And we're definitely wanting that validation too. Wanting those likes and comments and shares and wow, this looks fantastic. Like it's
funny.
I definitely experience that. When I do stuff, I'm just like, okay, even if I'm not feeling it on a day, it's like I got to be engaged. I got to talk about movies. Some days I'm really not feeling it, but there's sometimes that because I've talked about experiencing depression on this channel before. I've posted videos talking about that. There have definitely been periods just doing these videos where I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why are people listening to me? It gets to your head sometimes. I think I've gotten better at it. I genuinely enjoy doing it now.
Good.
But I think people can definitely see if they watch the videos. I've gone through some valleys.
I mean, the internet. I think we're just still trying to figure out this internet thing as a larger culture, like how it's gonna really be a part of our lives and how we're gonna really be responsible with it, and not let it consume ourselves and not let us really let us lose connection with each other. But I think we're still sort of in the formative stages of what we're gonna really do with this. Like it's interesting.
Our technology is advancing faster than the human brain's ability to evolve with it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a great Black Mirror episode about it, actually.
Black Mirror, prophetic series about the times we currently live in.
Yeah, and Bryce Dallas Howard is in this episode, and she's great in it. It's basically social media evolves to where it's like you see someone's Facebook profile in person when you meet them. Like you see how when you meet somebody, like, hi, my name's Jim. Says Jim, like 2,000 likes, like this many photos. We'll look at his vacation photos, and basically like you carry your profile with you in your daily life, and so everyone's constantly like trying to compliment each other and be like, "Oh, you look great today! Like, give me an upvote." And like you upvote them.
It's like focusing on the surface and the presentation rather than the actual person underneath.
And everyone is like really hollow and lacking emotion, really, just because they want to maintain this illusion of happiness, but everyone's sort of in this depressed state because they're constantly aware of themselves and constantly aware
Yeah.
of
Right.
how they're being presented.
No one can just
and how
be
they're...
naturally who they are.
Yeah.
Jesus, there are some clever fucking episodes of that series. It's really good. I also, this is why that's why I don't tweet. I try not to post as few things on Facebook as I can, because I know if I were somebody that like every feeling I was having, every thought I was having, if I just went out and tweeted that out, I'm thinking this right now, I would regret so many things. That's why like human beings aren't responsible enough for this technology.
Right.
I'm included in that. I try to avoid it as much as I can.
Isn't that why we all cringe at our like high school posts and stuff?
Oh God!
We always post when we're in that state, you know, when we go on and vent and we're like, "Fuck mom and dad."
Thank God I didn't have Twitter back then. Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
the good thing for me is like I've always used social media as a farce of who I am, and people who think they know me on Facebook and through the podcast and through Twitter don't know me at all. You know what I mean? Like I think you can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Like on social media, I am only insane and crazy. I only post weird, crazy thoughts and things like that. I never really kind of, maybe once or twice, I only kind of show like who I really am and give people like a glimpse. And that's usually like when I have something like inspiring to say. Like if something good happened to me, I try to share that experience with people and try to inspire others. But like I never post like, oh, my girlfriend's a bitch and she did this, and it's like it's nothing like that at all. Like it just, I mean, if you were to look me up on Facebook and just go through my entire profile, you would just see like,
I think you're some kind of insane
right, like I'm
mental
Jim
patient.
Carrey wandering the desert at Giovanni Ribisi. Like I just use social media as a way to test my material, you know, as a you know, someone who's trying to become a stand-up comic. Like I just post thoughts and but only humorous, like only funny things and things I would just say as a joke and kind of see what reaction they get. But yeah,
by the way, these two do have a podcast that they do together. What's it called again?
A Podcast Away.
Podcast Away.
Yeah.
Anybody interested in listening to that, you can look it up.
We haven't done an episode in 6 months, so
we were just talking about that.
Yeah,
You can find it on iTunes, right?
we are on iTunes.
Okay.
Podcast, one word, away, like Castaway.
Podcast Away.
Yeah,
But it's also like if you want to hear a new episode, it's just a podcast away.
yeah,
Like
so
that kind of thing.
yeah, like just a podcast away.
Yeah. See, double meaning, clever.
Yeah, I think I came up with that one. I'll
Yeah,
take
it's
the
all
credit for
you.
it. But yeah, we took a long hiatus. We're starting season 2 of our podcast, hopefully within the next couple weeks. So,
Right.
but yeah, going kind of back, you know, like I use sushi media. I use sushi media, social media as a tool, just to test material. Like I don't really build deep connections and try to like put myself out there. I just
It makes me curious of how people perceive you, though.
Exactly. People probably think I'm insane. I only post the crazy stuff that happens to me. So
It's like how people think David Lynch must be some kind of crazy, insane guy.
Right,
He's just like this
right.
timid little Midwestern guy.
yeah.
Yeah. Who every interview I've seen with David Lynch, I was like, he seems really normal.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you could talk to him and like he'd be really nice and courteous.
Yeah, but you watch the stuff he puts out, it's like, oh my god, that guy must be the craziest fucker anyone's ever seen.
Right. Like, yeah, and he's just like, hi, I'm David Lynch. Like, oh, okay.
I was an Eagle Scout.
yeah. What are people saying to us?
Let's see.
Talk about movies, idiots.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you.
I feel like Amirpour is a filmmaker along. This is going back to Bad Batch. A filmmaker along the same lines as Nicholas Winding Refn, in that she makes very divisive, stylish features. Movies that polarize audiences are generally the most interesting. I would definitely agree with that.
That's a good point. I mean,
I'm definitely very split on the Nicholas Winding Refn films I've seen. There are films of his that I love, like Bronson, which I think is amazing.
Oh God, yeah.
And then films that just really didn't do it for me, like Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives. That's a fun one. I like to I would like to rewatch that and discuss
You liked it?
No. I didn't, but I wanted to because I'm sorry, I stepped on your foot. I really wanted to like. Yeah, we are cramped. I really did want to like it. I wanted to love it. I wanted to be all about it. And
big Drive fan.
Huge Drive fan, and Bronson I think is even better than Drive. I mean,
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think it's his best one.
You're the one who's like, you haven't seen Bronson? Like, okay, stop what you're doing.
You are Bronson.
Yeah, I know. He's like, if you were to shave your head, like you're Tom Hardy, you're Bronson. This is your movie. And I was kind of like, we'll see about that. And I was completely captivated by Bronson. Absolutely loved it. Genius film. Probably in my top 10 favorites of all time. Anyway, I feel like a dick. I'm gonna say this, but I still don't feel like Amirpour.
I think. That's my best guess at how to say her name.
I just don't feel like, still stylistically, like her movie was quite on the level of Refn. I did like, there were some scenes in the desert with like lights and music that I thought were really, really awesome, but to me, like, there wasn't, I don't know, the lack of style in the desert scenes and whatnot may be her style, but it felt.
I thought it was more in a Leone kind of fashion.
Yeah, it was
landscapes.
Landscapes and things, which is fine. You don't need to have all the like neon light pizzazz.
Refn, I think, is in very much like the Argento kind of mode.
Right.
Yeah, where there's very saturated colors and neon lighting.
That's what strikes me. That's what captures my imagination.
Yeah.
That's what really gets me. So
I love a really garish color palette.
Yeah,
and I hate neutral color temperatures.
Who did Gaspar Noé?
Gaspar Noé.
I mean, like, that dude is like, that dude's firing on an entirely different level.
Void, yeah. Those are amazing looking movies.
Right. Yeah. And that, like, those stylistic choices just like completely capture my imagination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. I guess Refn he's very low key in his storytelling, and just visually he's completely unhinged.
Yeah.
Like all this violence and sex, but then when it comes to actually like characters and story, like, he's very subdued. He's very minimal. So it's a weird mix of tones there.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see Neon Demon?
Neon Demon. No, that's the most recent.
Yeah. Right now, that's his most recent one. I thought that was interesting. I was half and half on that one. There were things I thought were great in Neon Demon, and then other things that I didn't think were so great.
The title alone is pretty incredible. Neon Demon is a cool title.
And I like the idea of a horror movie set in the fashion industry. I think that's really good.
But
I thought it could have been more. What?
Doesn't that also have Keanu in it?
Yeah, that Keanu Reeves is in that one.
All right, I gotta watch that tonight.
He plays a creepy, like, who do you call it? Superintendent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just kind of there. But he's good, though.
Cool.
He's been doing some really interesting stuff.
I think he's come into his own. Like, I think people have figured out how to use him.
Yeah. Keanu?
I think it's great that, like, he's gone back to the state, kind of like what he did at the beginning of his career, when he did, like, Gus Van Sant movies, and at the same time he'd do Speed and Bill and Ted, but he'd also do My Own Private Idaho and this other weird stuff. And then he kind of just became this big actor that kind of just did
post-Matrix.
Yeah, he was basically just the Matrix guy. And now I feel like that's died down enough that he can mix these big movies with these really small esoteric movies too.
I mean, you'll have in the same year 27 Ronin and then Knock Knock.
47 Ronin.
20 of them don't even make the cut, dude. I only
it's an arbitrary number.
It could be 18. It could be 19 million Ronin. I don't give a shit. Like, but it's just my point. 47 Ronin in 1 year, and then in the same year you'd have Knock Knock. Like, and a lot of people are kind of like, oh, he's not a good actor. I think he's a genius. I'm captivated by him.
Yeah.
I see that you have tattoos. Does it hurt having them done? I'm considering getting a large one.
Fuck, it hurts. Don't do it.
Especially if you get one in China, right?
Yeah, like, I got this. This one I got in China. I don't know how a camera works.
It's a Jamie Hewlett illustration.
Oh, God, yeah, that one killed me. That one hurt. This one I got in prison. That's my Joliet Jake prison tattoo. This is an unfinished one. This is the last known photo of my dog. Anyway, then I have Mothman Prophecies. I'm a big Richard Gere fan.
I'd like to get a tattoo one day, but I'm so bad with needles, I don't think I could do it.
It's honestly, it's really not that bad. The first 10 minutes, if you can make it the first 10 minutes, you can do it. Because in the first 10 minutes, your brain needs time to kind of process the constant duration of pain you're going to experience. So once it realizes, oh, this is not going away, it starts shooting endorphins at the side of the pain. So you kind of start getting a little buzz off of it. And you're like, it doesn't hurt as bad. Now, with that being said, certain areas do hurt way more. For example, on my puppy here, down here, the snout, and like, you know, his face didn't hurt at all. But like up here towards his neck and his ears was killer. Like, I literally, like, this was about, we have 4.5 hours into this piece. Whoa. And it's still unfinished, but up here was absolutely unbearable. It was like, I'm ready for this to be done. But I mean, at the end of 4 hours, you're kind of spent anyway. But
yeah. Speaking of Jamie Hewlett too, Tank Girl's my favorite comic book of all time.
Fantastic.
She has like a a made-up tribal tattoo on one of her shoulders. I've always wanted to get that tattoo on my shoulder, but one, I don't have the money, and two, I still don't think I have the nerve to do it yet.
It's intimidating at first because you're like, oh man, only badass guys have and women have tattoos, like people who can deal with pain. And I mean, you definitely have to have a tolerance for it, but like I said, if you can do the first 10 minutes, you'll be fine. So I don't know where you want to get your piece. I don't know if you want color, because color hurts more. Color is a little bit, like, I think thicker of an ink, or a little bit more dense of an ink. So like it actually, like, you feel it go in, like the color hurts. And this is a completely color tattoo, so it was like murder, whereas, you know, everything else I have is black and white. That's not true, I'm sorry, I do have some highlights of white in this one, but I mean, it really depends. It's not a massage. You're not going to go in there and be like, wow, this feels amazing. But once those endorphins hit, you kind of get in this point where it's not excruciating pain or anything like that. It's just you get over the hump. You get over the hump, and you're just like, let's do this thing. Luckily, in China, I could smoke cigarettes as I was doing it. So like, not only was I crashing on my endorphins, I was drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. So it was an experience in and of itself. I don't recommend doing that anywhere else. So don't be like me, kids.
Oh, color. And it was thinking one on my chest or arm. God. Chest?
Chest is gonna hurt. I don't know where you want on your arm or your upper arm, but I mean, like, elbows, definitely painful. Wrist, definitely painful.
Get a spider web on your nipple. God, I don't think I could ever do anything like that.
No nip tattoos. No thanks.
I thought about getting my nipples pierced, actually. I got my ears gauged a while back, and I enjoy the sensation.
Are they closing up?
Yeah, I took them out mainly because I have one asshole to clean, and now I had two more. So it's like,
I didn't think about that. Holy shit!
If you don't clean them every single day, they just smell like poop and just like, yeah, they're bad.
God.
So and mainly
the things you don't hear about.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the dark side. Plus, I got a really, really good job, and I didn't know they didn't care about piercings. I could totally get them like redone, but I was like, you know what? I don't want any more maintenance. I can barely like brush my teeth, like. So I took them out, and they closed up. They completely closed up. So yeah. I'm pretty. Well, I mean, like, there's a little, but anyway, if you're like thinking upper arm, you should be okay. But once at the back of the arm, you're gonna cry like a bitch. It hurts.
Somebody said, we'll definitely check out your podcast, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, like I said, it's been like 4 or 5 months since we've done an episode, but we took a long break, and in the start of season 2, we're breaking our podcast up into seasons. In the start of season 2,
we got a Twin Peaks-esque cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and now the return's about to
we
come.
did leave on a huge cliffhanger, and
don't get too close to the camera. You can see my sweaty forehead.
that was like last week. Yeah, Denny was pulling a Rich Nixon, a tricky dick. Yeah, man, he was just pouring out sweat. Oh, am I gonna win? You know what? I had to turn off Oliver Stone's Nixon.
You didn't like Nixon?
I could not get into it for the life of me.
I thought that's one of his most underrated movies. I thought Nixon was great.
When they were at the dog racing or the horse racing, I was like, I'm over this shit.
What's his name? J. Edgar Hoover?
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. And I mean,
Bob Hoskins as J. Edgar Hoover was really good. I thought he was much better than DiCaprio.
Maybe.
Well, that's not saying much.
Maybe I'll get back into it, but I was like, if this is 3.5 hours and I'm really not liking it right now, like,
it's a specific kind of movie. The thing is, really into politics.
I'm more interested into politics than I ever have been before. Like, and it's like, I just couldn't get into it. So I'm like, well, maybe
I think it's a movie that demands a lot of context for what was going on at that time. If you don't really have it, then it just kind of seems like nonsense.
I just couldn't get into it, and maybe I'll go back and retry it. But I just couldn't get into it, and
no, that's too bad.
Yeah, so I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation instead. That's good.
That's much more my speed.
Way more my speed. My kind of flick.
Let's see what we got here. I love Only God Forgives, and Bronson is my least favorite from him. Interesting.
Whoa, Jack, shots fired. That's interesting.
I really want to see the Pusher movies. I haven't seen those.
Yeah, somebody said, Pusher is perfection. That's much more of a gritty film. That's like one of... I guess you could say it's stylized, but it's just most like grounded and realistic film. Like it's handheld cameras.
I think I've only seen the first
grainy
2.
film stock.
There's 3, right?
Yeah, there's 3 altogether, and then a remake of the first one.
I used to get Pusher,
but he didn't do the remake.
Chopper.
That's the Eric Bana movie.
okay.
Yeah, Chopper
Yeah.
is the Eric Bana movie. Pusher is the
the drug dealer movie.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
I've seen Chopper, and Chopper is awesome.
That's the prequel to
Chopper's
Hulk,
great.
right? Is Chopper prequel to
yeah,
Hulk?
it's just before. It's the events leading up to Ang Lee's Hulk.
Then he like corrects his life, becomes a scientist, and then becomes the Hulk, right?
Yeah, quits his life of crime.
Yeah, it's an inspiring story, really.
Let's see what else we got here. Greetings from Guatemala.
Hey!
Hello, Alejandro. Are you guys into Latin American cinema?
We're definitely not into Latin America cinema.
Yeah, I
haven't
wish
seen a lot of it.
I wish I had more of an awareness and more of an exposure to world cinema, but yeah, unfortunately I still have yet to branch out to a lot of international film scenes. But Latin American cinema, I'm trying to think. Jodorowsky, he's a Chilean filmmaker that worked a lot out of Mexico, so I think he sort of counts. Let me see. Carlos Regadas, I talked about his film Post Tenebris Lux.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Mexican filmmaker. I love Post Tenebris Lux. That's one of my favorite movies.
What about Inarritu?
Oh, God, yeah. There's a lot of great Mexican filmmakers right now.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro, Alfonso Cuarón, Alejandro González Iñárritu. They're all
Now,
great.
Mexico is not Latin America, but
Isn't
no.
Central America? Damn it. You're right.
No, it's Mexico.
We're
I
just
mean, I don't want to
ignorant
offend
Americans,
anybody here.
Oh, City of God. That's a great Brazilian film.
That's Brazil. That's South America.
South
Latin America. Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Maybe
I
you can
believe.
help us out. Throw out
Yeah.
some Latin American.
Yeah,
Save
I'm
us,
sorry.
save us here. Help us
We're
out.
very
here.
dumb
Yeah.
Americans,
Yeah.
so we don't know geography so
Yeah.
well. But you've seen City of God, right?
Oh yeah,
That's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
movie.
That's a
Yeah.
flooring film.
It's a very foreign film.
No, I said flooring.
Oh,
Like
flooring.
it just like knocks you on your ass.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
foreign. Like I wasn't trying to say it like that.
Boy, you sound like someone who hates subtitles.
Oh no, I love subtitles. I feel more
You ever hear-
engaged with a film like when I can like. Obviously, it's in a foreign language, so I'm not going to get it. So I need subtitles. So I mean, like it kind of helps bridge that
You
gap.
ever talk to people like that say they hate subtitles?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
ain't gonna read a movie.
Yeah, if I want to read a book, I'll read Hustler. I'm not going to watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden, whatever with your stupid little yeah.
Oh, Mexico is part of Latin America. Thank God.
Oh,
So they were-
sweet.
So
Okay.
I wasn't wasting everybody's time. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, got it. Well, no, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Guatemala is part of
Guatemala.
Central America. Okay, got it.
America. I
But,
don't know if I've seen any Guatemalan films. At least not yet. Yeah, I still have a lot of gaps to fill. There's a lot of Iranian films that are really having a big impact now. A lot of really great Iranian filmmakers like The Salesman, and that just won the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar.
Oh, nice.
And that same director did another one called A Separation. Yeah, I haven't seen either of those yet. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I need to get into.
Hey, and this poetry.
Oh.
Jodorowsky and Regatas are awesome. Did you see Jodorowsky's latest Endless Poetry or Poesia Sin Fin? I have not seen it yet. We did mention it earlier. It's going to be released in the United States in July, and we're hoping to get up to Portland to be able to see it when it does come out.
I donated to the Indiegogo, so
Nice.
I got a horse in this race. I hope it does well because I got to see those returns.
You sound a little bit like Frank Underwood. Like Frank Underwood meets Gordon Gekko a little bit, but I have a horse in this race, and I need to see those returns. Like
Frank Underwood.
From House of Cards, Kevin Spacey's character.
You mentioned him last week too. I was like, Frank Underwood.
I am on a House of Cards kick, my dudes. Like I'm loving that show right now.
Here in England, a theatre is where plays are staged. I find it weird that you call cinemas theatres.
Oh, well, excuse us.
Well, the
we went
difference-
to the cinema and saw Monty Python. Like, come on, man. Like, relax. Like, don't be so square.
We're just busting your chops.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But,
The difference in America is a movie theater that you go to see movies is spelled Theater, or if you're going to see a play, you go to a Theatre.
Yeah, theatre.
Which I have no idea why.
a theater and a theatre.
Yeah, it's very.
And we watch football,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
go on an elevator, not a lift.
Yeah.
And it's called an apartment, not a flat. All right?
I was thinking about elevators. That name doesn't it sound like something like made in like the 1900s of this is my new invention, the elevator, in which you are elevated to a new level. Like,
I think you just described the pitch to an elevator.
Yeah,
I would have called
pretty
it
much what happened.
I would have called it an ascender.
an ascender. Yeah.
It should ascend
But you also descend on an elevator.
Oh damn it!
You don't
Yeah,
ascend
you're right.
downwards. You descend.
Well, you can.
This is the ascender descender.
Yeah.
What's the elevator in Willy Wonka called? An anyvator?
Oh, yeah, because it can go left,
Yeah.
right, up.
I don't think it's called the elevator though.
What is it called? I can't remember.
I think it's called the optometer. The Sega
Oh.
Genesis.
Oh, I've heard about this movie, Embrace of the Serpent. Yeah, that is on Amazon Prime. I've been meaning to watch that one. I really want to see it. I've heard it's incredible, but I don't really know anything about it. I want to know as little as possible. But yeah, I do really want to see Embrace of the Serpent.
I gotta stand up for a sec. My ass is
Yeah,
numb.
dude.
Okay.
Oh my god, look at me. I look like the Weeknd.
I'm just sitting on a stool and it's it's
Yeah.
not comfortable.
Yeah, it's
Embrace of the Serpent is an incredible film from Colombia. Wow.
Oh, okay, right
One of
on.
my all-time favorites. El Abrazo de la Serpiente. Brilliant film. Chiro Guerra is a great director. He directed The Wind, Journeys, which I heard was great too. I haven't seen any of his films then.
Wow, okay.
That is one to check out. I'm always interested in learning
Put that
about
on the
new
list.
filmmakers. Yeah,
Write it
new
down.
styles. Somebody else says, Sasha again. I think I prefer anime to live action. Ghost in the Shell has become my all-time favorite film.
Ghost in the Shell is
You know
a great
what?
one.
I've been thinking about this all week because I've been rewatching the film Coraline, which I mentioned last week. I watched it 2 times leading up to the previous stream. Between that stream and this stream, I think I watched Coraline about 15 more times. So I've just been watching it every day, about twice a day, every day this week. It's become one of my new all-time favorite movies.
Wow.
And I've been watching a ton of animation. I watched a bunch of other Leica Studio stuff, their stop-motion stuff. Leica has become one of my all-time favorite animation studios.
Nice.
Just rewatching their stuff and watching ones I hadn't seen yet. My God, they're so good. I rewatched Paranorman, which was fantastic. I saw the Box Trolls for the first time, which nobody talked about the Box Trolls. That was a great movie. I thought Box Trolls was amazing. Ooh, sneezing over there. But yeah, I
Yeah, I
thought
love
Box
Leica.
Trolls. Yeah, I thought Box Trolls was second only to Coraline as one of their best films. I never hear anybody talk about the Box Trolls. So
I think just because it sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like something.
yeah, it
that
doesn't
I
have
could-
brand recognition.
Yeah,
Box
exactly.
Trolls, what's that?
There's no Shrek.
Yeah,
No Donkey.
I actually had the same reaction. I can't believe it. We're so conditioned to only react to stuff we recognize, and that triggers something in our heads or our nostalgia or our memory. Yeah, it's unfortunately movies that aren't based on a really established property have a more difficult time. So yeah, I have to admit, even though I'm somebody that's all about originality, new stories, I see the Box Trolls. You think I should be reacting like, ooh, something different. I'm interested in this. No, it's like Box Trolls. I don't recognize that.
What is that?
It's
Yeah.
reflexive, and I hate it, but I'm trying to condition myself out of that. But yeah, I saw the Box Trolls finally, and I loved it. I thought it was so great. I recommend it to anybody that loves like classic kind of children's movies. I thought it was one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's so imaginative,
Right on.
creates its own world, very specific characters, a very eccentric sense of humor to it, very witty, great voice acting, amazing animation. I think for stop motion puppets, the performances they're able to get out of the puppets and the Box Trolls are the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like, it's absolutely amazing. And I've been learning more about how Leica does their thing. Animation for me, I think I'm finally starting to understand, because I've for a long time now preferred animation to live action. I think I'm finally starting to understand why. I was listening to the audio commentary on Coraline, and Henry Selick was talking about animation. He said movies are like real life, but with all the boring parts edited out. Animation is like live action, but with all the boring parts of live action edited out.
Right.
And I think that's why I like animation so much, is that it's the most refined, the purest form of storytelling that there is, because there's nothing extraneous. There's nothing unnecessary, because it's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you're doing stop motion, if you want anything to appear on screen, you've got to manipulate those little figures frame by frame to make it happen. You've got to draw every frame out by hand. You've got to
There's no-
render a thing
yeah.
out and program it and manipulate it if it's digital. I mean, it's so difficult and time consuming and labor intensive that you have to keep it down to the bare essentials.
There's no mistakes in anime. Like, there's no accidents in
Yeah,
animation.
everything
like,
there is for a very specific purpose, to
Yeah.
add something to character or to the environment or to the
You
world.
can't let the camera roll and hope that Corman's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
improvise something.
I just love that it's so controlled, and yet when you watch a really good animated movie, it feels completely spontaneous. And I absolutely love that idea of something that is completely controlled in absolutely every single possible detail, that doesn't feel artificial. Like it feels completely spontaneous. Like these are just characters behaving in a situation.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something magical about that to me that will never cease to amaze me. It's like there's alchemy to it. You know, you can draw a picture and you can put 24 pictures together and bring them to life, but to actually get emotion out of it and spontaneity out of it, it takes some kind of magical process, some kind of alchemical formula that I don't fully understand. I don't think I'll ever fully understand to bring that to life. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, to me, live action is the type of storytelling that I think I could do. I can wrap my brain around that, and I can imagine doing live action. Animation, I don't think I'll ever fully understand. And to me, filmmaking is like a magic trick. It should look effortless, but it's extremely difficult, and it takes a knowledge, it takes a craft, it takes collaboration, it takes vision and imagination. But live action, I think you're also very reliant on other people.
Right.
Like, you can put an actor in a scene, you can get a cinematographer, and you can have things happen that people will think is planned, and they'll go like, oh wow, that was so great. But I can understand that, like creating a situation where things can happen. To me, it's like a magic trick where once you learn how it's done, once you learn the sleight of hand, you can teach yourself how to do it. Like, I can wrap my brain around that. To me, animation is like Houdini, where there's not really any trick. Like, if he's going to suspend himself 100 feet in the air in a straitjacket and escape and pick a lock and climb down, he's actually going to fucking do that. So even when you learn how the trick is done, it's still like, holy shit, I could never fucking do that. Animation is like that. You're manipulating things one frame at a time. You're drawing things out one frame at a time. I would never have the patience or the attention span or the vision or the imagination to be able to do that.
And to keep that continuity, too, of like...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just something that the more I learn about how it's done, the more I respect it and the more incredible it seems to me. And I think it's a pure form of storytelling, too, because nothing is accidental. Everything is so carefully thought out. And there's nothing extra. There's no coverage. There's no like, oh, let's like shoot things over the shoulder to try and get this. It's like, no, how can we have a more succinct way of putting this so that it's not just talking heads and that there's something visual happening and something engaging. I absolutely love it. I think filmmakers that work in animation, they're the greatest filmmakers in the world. Hayao Miyazaki, Henry Selick, Brad Bird. I mean, all those kinds of filmmakers. I think they're the absolute best, and they're the ones I take endless amounts of inspiration from. But I could never do what they do, and I don't want to do what they do. It's always going to seem impossible and magical to me, and I love that about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want to talk about Twin Peaks.
Okay.
I really do.
Talk about Twin
I really
Peaks.
do. We're hitting the 90-minute mark, and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of what the show is.
Yeah, I just want to... Have you seen Waltz with Bashir, an animated masterpiece? I just want to run through these real quick.
Waltz with Bashir.
You've seen Waltz with Bashir?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
You liked it?
Yeah, I really liked it.
I saw it years and years ago. My memory of it is really not very sharp. I would need to watch it again before I could really talk about it. I remember being very struck by it, though.
Yeah, I remember it being very unique in the way it mixed documentary elements with animation.
That's right, yeah, with interviews with actual people, because it's a war film. It covers an actual tragic event. But that was a really... It was really pushing what you could do with animation.
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that, where it was a film that was very much about reality, about real-life tragedy, but done in this stylistic way, in animated form, to really, I guess, like, heighten things to a real emotional level, that it kind of, like, I guess it transcends the medium, and where if it was just a documentary... It wouldn't have as much impact.
It'd be another documentary.
Yeah, exactly. The way it was visualized through animation.
I remember
I thought it was really great.
Yeah, the documentarian Adam Curtis, I remember, talked about that in an interview. of he hates making he's a documentary filmmaker, and he hates doing it just in the standard way where you're just interviewing somebody talking about an event, because he feels like, God, when you make a documentary about a really important subject, you want people to pay attention. You don't want to kind of just give them the same thing so that they can just look at it and go, oh, that's awful, and then move on to the next thing. He talks about how, because documentary is really its own art form as well. He talks about how you have to really search for unconventional techniques to grab people's attention and stick in their minds and make them look at it in a different, new way. I think that's very interesting. So yeah, but Waltz with Bashir is an interesting example of that, of choosing an animated film format to try and drive home the point of the tragedy that it covers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just take one last look here. Coraline in 3D. It was made in 3D. I haven't seen Coraline in 3D, although I really want to after listening to Henry Selick's commentary, because he talks about how the film was designed specifically for 3D. You guys have seen Coraline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like the real world, and then there's the mirror world that is created by the Beldam, the other mother. He talks about how the real world was designed in a very flat way. They actually built sets where they tried to compress the perspective. So seen in 3D, it would seem very claustrophobic, like everything's very close to you. And then they built different sets for the mirror world where they expanded everything and they tried to stretch the perspective as much as they could. So when you go into the imaginative world, you go into the mirror world, suddenly everything's opened up and it seems like this big space. It's like, wow, that's a brilliant way of using the added perspective, the z-axis of 3D for visual storytelling. It's like, this is why I love animation, because you can do stuff like that. I guess you could in live action, but it'd be really difficult because you have to build everything on full scale. But yeah, I would love to see Coraline in 3D because it's actually composed specifically for that extra space, that z-axis.
And I love that when movies are, when 3D isn't used as a gimmick, when 3D is actually implemented into the storytelling.
Yeah.
I think
not a lot of films do that. Life of Pi did that.
It's kind of like 3D is kind of on its way out. But
a little bit,
yeah, but movies that do it really well are pretty breathtaking. I'd love to see Coraline in 3D if I ever get the chance.
Box Trolls did get nominated for Best Animated Film. Yeah, but it was like, I feel like it was just one. It was like, oh yeah, it's filling space.
Yeah, we know they're going to give it to Pixar.
It's going to be Pixar or Disney.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Box
that
Trolls
is added.
what was that?
Laika Studios.
Laika.
They're their own entity.
I think it's their second best film right after Coraline.
Got it.
But I love all the stuff they do.
I mean, at least they got the nom. I mean, for that, for their studio,
it's something.
That's
it's
cool.
an extra bit of recognition. But yeah, I think Paranorman is really underrated. I love that one.
Who did Monster House? Did you ever see Monster House?
Oh yeah,
I haven't
seen
seen
that
Monster
was
House.
DreamWorks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that was a DreamWorks one.
God,
But I rewatched Kubo.
I
rewatched Kubo and the Two Strings as well. I'm warming up to that one more and more too. But yeah, I love the risks they take on the films that they make. Like Paranorman is the only children's film I've ever seen that pays homage to grindhouse films and drive-in films.
Yeah, I really liked Paranorman.
Yeah, it's a really underrated one.
It was one that my girlfriend made me watch because I was like, I'm like, this is a kid. I'm not. Oh no! Like, and she was like, no, we're watching this. And I'm like, all right. So we watched it. I loved it. I was really captured my imagination.
Yeah. If I can go on another rant too, I think children's films are actually exploring more moral complexity than adult films have been lately. Because I think
that's a good point.
Kubo and the Two Strings and Paranorman and even Moana. I just watched Moana for the first time on Netflix over the course of this week. Not my favorite Disney film. I didn't think it was their best work, but I still thought it was good.
Yeah, I really liked Moana.
But I think it's really interesting that a lot of children's films lately have been exploring the idea of non-violence as a solution to conflict. Because that's basically the point to Kubo and the Two Strings and Moana and Paranorman, is that it's the hero confronting the villain, and the way that it starts out as a conflict, but then eventually they realize that compassion is really what solves the problem, and choosing a path of non-violence and of forgiveness.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like in adult movies, like all you really get is like, because they feel like they have to be violent and they have to reflect the way the world actually is. Because I mean, let's face it, violence always does win out. Human beings are violent animals.
I want it to end in a big explosion.
Yeah,
the sky filled with smoke.
So I mean, it seems like a lot of movies end like that. Like somebody's got to die violently. The villain has to be
vanquished.
It's
resolved. And only then.
Yeah, and I guess guess to be fair, a lot of children's films do that too, but it seems like more and more children's films are trying to explore that idea of compassion, forgiveness, and non-violence as a solution to problems. It's kind of like they're trying to imagine a world different from the one we currently live in, where we do make those choices that essentially go against our nature, where we do want vengeance, we do want, revenge, we do want to satisfy our bloodlust, because I think that is something that is in us on a primal level, but
Right.
I think children's films are trying to explore that idea. The same kinds of ideas that were practiced by people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi and the
Right.
Dalai Lama. They're trying to explore that idea of nonviolence and compassion and forgiveness as a solution to conflict. And they're like the only films I see on a large scale trying to explore those ideas. And I think that's really interesting.
Well, it's kind of like, have you guys have seen the animated Beauty and the Beast, like the original Walt Disney
Yeah, yeah.
cartoon? It's like I remember as a kid, I didn't want Gaston to die. Like, because he kind of, like, he's like the big guy who's like, going to kill the Beast, and he ends up falling off the building to his death. I always thought it'd be cool if, like, the
Villains
Beast...
in Disney movies are often hoisted by their own petard.
Yeah,
they don't.
absolutely.
Yeah, the hero almost never kills the villain. The villain kills himself.
But they still die, and I always thought it'd be way cooler that if Beast, like, forgave Gaston, and Gaston just, like, was, like, this bitter old man who, like, lost all of his strength and lost all of his
has
fame.
to
Like,
live with his mistakes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, that'd be a way more effective fairy tale ending, I think, than, like, watch the Beast become this beautiful man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like...
I've
like,
always had
I
trouble
feel
with the ending of Beauty and the Beast in any form. Because there's the Cocteau version where kind of ends like similar, like in a similar way, not with Gaston dying, but the ending to the Cocteau one is very unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of very sudden.
Yeah.
The Cocteau one is interesting, but yeah, I do have my problems with the Cocteau Beauty and the Beast. It does have just kind of a very quick resolution, like, okay, things are okay now.
Like the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
fantastic,
Right.
great movie. But the ending, I was like,
I'm having a hard time remembering how that one ends. That's one on Criterion, right?
It is, yeah.
I have a really hard time remembering how that one ends.
Okay, but
You have to tell me after.
One day.
there are a lot of there are many other comments, so I apologize. We might have time to go back to these, but we probably should go on to Twin Peaks, like I
Yes.
think
Yeah,
we're
'cause
supposed to discuss in this
yeah.
episode. So I apologize for skipping your comments or your questions. But yeah, I don't think we're probably going to talk about all the episodes of Twin Peaks that we've missed so far. We're probably just going to talk about the latest one, and then
Yeah.
maybe
Well, I think
at a
we could
later
just-
date we can really get into plot details, because Felix has only seen the latest episode of Twin Peaks.
And
You've never seen Firewalk with Me, the original series, The Missing Pieces. You've never even seen like a commercial about Twin Peaks.
I
right?
know nothing about Twin Peaks other than it takes place in a town called Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and so last night I come home from work and Mike's here, or Felix is here, and I'm like, hey, we should watch the episode of Twin Peaks. And you were like, we've gone through this before. Felix is like, well, I've never seen an episode. And I was like, well, tonight that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the latest episode of Twin Peaks was quite a trip.
Yeah.
This is episode 8 of the revival.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't... You watched it on Sunday as soon as it dropped. I didn't get a chance to watch it until last night. And I knew
We both
nothing
saw
about
it together at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And Danny Boy kept telling me, like, you have to see this. Like, this is... Don't read anything about it. Don't look online. You just have to watch it. And so I was kind of like, huh, okay. And we did watch it, and yeah, there's no way to prepare yourself for that.
I made the mistake of getting really stoned before watching it, so I mean, like, it kind of hit me on a level I wasn't really expecting.
Glad you didn't freak out.
No, I mean, like, I mean, I know how to handle my high. You know,
Okay.
it's not like I'm a first time stoner, but it's like I just, like, for a show that I had no idea what it was about. I knew, I know Lynch is a madman, but I've never really seen him, I think, that unhinged before.
Yeah.
This is like going back to Eraserhead type
Right.
shit
It made me
with
think of, like,
him.
6 Men Getting Sick and, like, those, like,
his early
those
animations.
Yeah.
Right.
Back when it was just unfiltered consciousness being put onto a screen.
And, like,
Yeah.
it was just,
There
like...
have been scenes, bits and pieces in the revival of Twin Peaks so far that have reminded me of, like, his earlier experimental
Right.
stuff. I've gotten vibes of Eraserhead. I've gotten a lot of vibes of Ronnie Rocket as well. For anyone who's ever read that screenplay, I think you'll see a lot of ideas from Ronnie Rocket appearing in the new Twin Peaks. But this is the first time he's ever done just like a full episode where it seems like he's gone straight back to his early experimental days and is just really out in his own universe this time, not grounded in anything. It's a huge risk to take with a major miniseries. I'm amazed that it actually happened.
Yeah, could you imagine?
I can understand why Showtime fired him. Yeah. But I'm glad they brought him back so that he could do something like this.
Yeah, and clearly this is... I really get the feeling that maybe he did this series so he could do this episode.
Really?
Because, I mean, just look at the way the effects were done in this episode, and look at the way the story was told, and the way it was edited, and the music. It felt like a self-contained movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I watched it. I watched it as an hour-long short film.
Because a big discussion up to this point with the show has been the quality of the special effects, and how a lot of it does seem to be done kind of on the cheap. A lot of and some people argue that is an aesthetic of David Lynch, like it's supposed to look strange and artificial.
Yeah.
But this episode, everything looked amazing.
Yeah.
I think it helps that it was
incredible,
mostly in black and white too.
Yeah.
I think that gives you more latitude in what you can get away with, with special effects.
Yeah, but it seemed very noticeable to me that he probably put most of the budget in this episode
to make sure it looked as good as possible.
Yeah, like that, just that shot of it zooming in on the atom bomb when it goes off.
The mushroom cloud.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that one shot alone is quite an achievement.
It was a lot to take in. I mean, it hits your sensory. It hits you on every level, and I just wasn't. I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't ready for that. I was expecting it to be really goofy and funny, and because that's like kind of what the vibe he was giving me. He didn't really tell me like it's probably going to change your life. I don't know if you're going to be able to handle this. Like, it was just more of like, I thought it was going to be really goofy and zany and weird. I don't know what Twin Peaks is. I have no idea. And like this, like the permanent smirk on his face when he was telling us about it, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be really goofy and like crazy and zany.
There have been goofier episodes, but
right.
This is not. This is one of the scarier episodes.
This was a terrifying episode, and I think that like it kind of plays into this constant fear that we're in right now. He really touches on a hot topic of the lack of structure in North Korea right now, then what's going on with terrorist attacks all around the world, especially in London, and kind of like there's this general kind of consensus right now like, what if a bomb were to drop? What if one of those missiles were to make it over here? What if something did happen? Like, what would that look like? What would that be like? And, to break down this one scene, where this atom bomb goes off, one thing that really struck a chord with me and Denny Boy after we talked about it was like, we see absolute destruction in this desert scene, but there's no buildings, there's no people, there's no roads, there's no trees. Like, and that alone, even just what we're seeing in that desert is so terrifying, and it makes you so aware of your mortality and how quick everything ends. And we were talking like, no cities got blown up, no buildings were destroyed, people weren't burning like in Terminator 2, but it was still so captivating and so terrifying and so like just like a big dose of reality that if it was gonna end, if bombs were to drop, you wouldn't even know what happened. Mm-hmm. You'd have no knowledge. Like everything that everything that you've stressed about, everything you're worried about, everything that you're afraid of, anything you're trying to accomplish, any connections you've ever made, end like that, and everything's gone. And then to even further go into that atom bomb, not just the wide-scale destruction that we witness, but it's literally broken down to a molecular
camera
level.
Goes into the mushroom cloud, and you see the chaos on the atomic level.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a large scale, and maybe, I don't know, some people might say I'm reading too much into this or I'm taking too much from it. I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, like,
it
was your reaction.
Yeah,
right.
Like you weren't watching it as an episode of Twin Peaks. You were watching it as a movie.
Yes, absolutely.
A self-contained experience.
Of course. Yeah. And to me, like, it really captivated me, and I was like, and being stoned definitely kind of helped open up receptors in my brain a little bit that would, like, normally I would be very like, this does give me an emotion, but like being high, I was like, this is fucking everything. It's all like, whoa, like this, there's so much happening right now. Like this is what it would maybe be like, and this is the levels it's broken down to. Like, I was very, very receptive to it, and that, like, and it had like a pretty deep effect on me where I was like, I gotta watch this series now. And like, you guys have been very good about telling me this isn't like anything that's in the show, you know?
Yeah.
Even diehard fans of the show are talking about this episode like, what the fuck was this?
You can pretty much say everything that happens in the show. It's not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen any of the other episodes.
Right. Yeah, because I'm very big on, I don't like spoilers. I don't like to know things. Like, when I yelled at you guys about Game of Thrones, like, don't say nothing, don't talk about anything. Like, so for me, it was a big step for me to be like, all right, I will watch this one straight episode. But I mean, I gotta hand it to Denny. I'm trying to learn which hand I got. To Denny boy, I mean, it's like, you know, to say like, hey, this might be kind of fascinating to you. It's not going to ruin the show. What do you think? And plus, we have to talk about it on the stream tomorrow. I was like, you guys just do it yourself. I'm going to smoke, do my thing, you know, I'll come back in like an hour or so. I'm glad I stuck around, you know, I'm glad I watched it because he could have told me that this is the new David Lynch movie. It's only an hour long. Yeah. And I would have been like, whoa, like, this is badass. Like, this is, I think, like, the best thing he's ever done. Like, this is totally unhinged and awesome and just genius work. And then to find out that it's a middle episode to a TV series that's being revived, I was just like, how is this possible? I think I even said to him, because there's a period of about 8 minutes where it's like pure silence, like these guys just driving in a car. And I was like, this is on TV? Like you can have that much silence in a television show? Like, what is going on?
I ended up saying later on, when you see, what's his name, the tall man?
People call him the Giant.
The Giant, yeah. There's a scene
is that
where...
the bald guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a scene where you go into, I don't know if it's one of the Black Lodges or if it's like an in-between limbo place, but it's just this very still tableau of a woman kind of like in a 20s sort of dress, 1920s, just kind of like sitting on a couch in this Art Deco room with this very strange like black electrical device in one corner of the room.
And it's massive.
Yeah, and
like
she's just
floor to
sitting there.
ceiling.
She's sitting there for a very long time,
And
not saying anything, not doing anything.
Important detail is the phonograph playing this wistful kind of
music.
music.
And it's in black and white, and she's just sitting there, and she sits there for about a full minute, and then something starts beeping, and then the Giant comes out from behind the machine, and he gets right up to the camera, and he just looks in the camera for another full minute, and then he goes away, and he presses a button on the machine, and then he disappears back behind it. And I said to you guys in that moment, was like, could you imagine if somebody just stumbled on that on TV one time? They turned on Showtime and they see that.
Right, like
They
just
would
got
think
done.
they
Like,
were dreaming.
right, like they just got done watching like Pawn Stars or something.
Yeah,
and
and
like,
you
oh, boop, boop, doo.
You
Like,
come to
they
that,
just-
you would think like some kind of alien transmission was coming through.
Oh
your TV.
yeah, like it's.
You'd be terrified out of your mind. I would be terrified out of my mind if I was scrolling through channels at midnight and I stumbled upon that with no context. Just like, what is happening?
Right.
What happened?
It's-
Is this an alternate dimension?
It's almost like a world of
Like, did I find Videodrome?
Yeah, like you're stumbling across Videodrome.
It's almost like a
Drome?
War of the Worlds
Videodrome?
kind of a War of the Worlds kind of thing, where it's like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? Like if enough people saw that at one point in time, like there may be widespread chaos. Like I don't know if people know like how to handle it, but
Yeah, but that's great. It's such a subversion. It's like
It's a subversion from even what like people were expecting subversions, you know?
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of what Martin Scorsese said in what was it? A Century of American Film, something like that. My Journey Through Film.
My Voyage to Italy.
Not My Voyage to Italy, because that's about Italian cinema. He did another one.
History of American Film.
Yeah, something like that. History of American Film, I think it was. We're backed up on the chat, so if somebody remembers the name of that Scorsese documentary, please let me know.
It's like the 19-hour one.
Yeah, but I remember in that one he talked about how there are different kinds of directors. Like he talks specifically about Hollywood and Hollywood filmmakers, and he talks about how Hollywood filmmakers have always had to have like different like categories that they fit into, different like analogies that he draws between directors. And he says sometimes directors have to be like a thief. They have to be like a terrorist that is infiltrating the system to set these bombs off, these cinematic bombs that don't belong there and that throw the order out of whack. And he talked about certain filmmakers like Sam Peckinpah that snuck in there and were kind of like these thieves stealing this Hollywood money to make these very strong personal statement films. I feel like Lynch has kind of done that with the television structure. He's become like one of those directors as thieves coming in and stealing this thing away and putting this experimental art film on mainstream television. It's insane.
He found himself in a unique position to where Showtime wanted him to give people Nostalgia Fest. They gave him complete creative control because they were kind of forced to, and then he sort of just gives them a product in the finger, and then he's putting experimental film on mainstream television, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. Kind of every episode I watch has been like very liberating in that sense of, wow, this is something that is probably never going to happen again.
Yeah,
maybe.
I felt that most strongly with this most recent episode. It's like, we're in the middle of something the likes of which we're never going to see again.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was really relishing that experience.
I'm just wondering how pissed off.
Being able to witness it as it happens.
Yeah.
Like, that's really exciting.
I'm just wondering how mad like the execs for Showtime are like.
Like we were talking about that.
What happened?
I think after they brought Lynch back, I think they just disengaged. Like, all right, whatever.
Do your thing, weird guy. Like, just
we're
whatever.
not gonna deal with you anymore.
We were laughing our asses off at the end of the episode after all of this, after an hour of abstract, strange, unlike anything you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Credits roll, and then the Showtime logo, the flashy Showtime
logo,
like goes over it. We're like,
coming up next.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next, we got Ricky Gervais and his new TV show, and hope you stay tuned for our new show with Matt LeBlanc. And
it's like because was it Lynch and Frost? I think it was like
Lynch Frost.
Like it takes up the whole screen. It's flashy and eerie, and it's like, and then it just cuts off, and it's like bump bump ba. Like then this little CGI perfect little smooth curve comes in. Showtime. Yeah. Wow, wasn't that something? Like
coming up next, we got our new episode. Hope you enjoyed that new episode of Twin Peaks.
It's so incongruous.
It's like, wow, this does not belong. This is awesome.
No, yeah. Well, one of these things, I think what I kept saying is one of these things doesn't fit.
Kevin Helms says, speaking of Twin Peaks being likely the last Lynch production, that might not actually be entirely accurate. Like, apparently Lynch is saying he was misquoted on that, saying that he's right, because you told me about that.
Yeah, he did say that he was...
Because he said, like, he's never going to make another film, but apparently what he actually said is he's probably never going to make another film because of the way the industry is changing.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, Twin Peaks was a case where it's, like, basically he was waiting for an opportunity like this, where it's like, we'll give you money to do what you want. And he's like, okay, that's all you need to say. I'm
don't see that anymore. The idea of the industry as a patron has sort of gone away. It used to be that even big studios, Hollywood studios, would cultivate talent. They would look at new, interesting young filmmakers and say, like, okay, we'll give you some money on a very small scale to sort of do what you want. Like, Robert Altman broke into the industry like that. William Friedkin, Steven Spielberg, Steven Soderbergh, a lot of the really best directors of the 20th century, they got their start that way. Essentially with big Hollywood studios acting as their patrons, saying, let's see what you can do. And then something like Jaws would happen, or The Exorcist would happen. And it'd be this huge movie, and they'd realize, like, okay, thank God we invested in this talent, because now it's paying off. That doesn't exist anymore. Right. I think the only place, if it still exists, and it's still very, very rare, it probably exists on certain television, in certain television studios of, like, HBO saying, like, we'd like to invest in Lena Dunham, and she creates Girls. And then Showtime, even though they fought against it, eventually Lynch did win out, which the artists are winning less and less these days.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it ended up being with that, like, okay, we'll just let you do your thing. And if there's one other place where that idea of the industry as a patron to the artist, if that still exists, it's probably in streaming. Because I think we're starting to see that more and more. We're seeing, like, Netflix doing the nostalgia pay. We're seeing them, like, do a lot of nostalgia stuff. They'll bring a certain thing back. They'll bring back a show, or they'll do a sequel or a prequel to a movie.
Full House, MST3K.
Yeah, Wet Hot American Summer. They'll do stuff like that. But then also, they're also doing a really interesting thing in that they're investing in Errol Morris. Yeah. Like, he's doing a new show for Netflix, and Noah Baumbach, and who else? I'm trying to think. Bong Joon-ho, and all these really different, very specific kinds of artists with their own sensibility. And everything that I've heard about Netflix, everybody's had the best experiences with them, saying, like, yeah, Netflix really just stays out of your way,
Yeah.
and they let you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Amazon is starting to get into that too. Like they're investing in new films from Jim Jarmusch and Leos Carax and Terry Gilliam.
yeah, Patterson was an Amazon.
Yeah,
production.
and
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, Nicholas Winding Refn. Neon Demon was I don't know if it was produced, but I know it was distributed by Amazon. And Wiener Dog, Todd Solondz's new movie.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting seeing that shift happen. That all the really interesting stuff and the cultivation of talent is happening in the world of streaming and digital VOD.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Hollywood's just become its thing about producing franchises.
Yeah, it's like they're doing their thing, you know, and
which I do still believe there are genuinely talented people in the Hollywood system that are trying to find ways to thrive and trying to deliver something really artistic, but it's getting harder and harder and harder.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite filmmakers, I mean, like Kevin Smith, like his last couple movies have been really creative and different and out there, and I mean, like not like a lot of people have hated them and given them like bad reviews, but he's not making like a cookie cutter movie. Like he's trying like different, like Red State and Tusk and Yoga Hosers are all very original and different. And definitely a big break in what he's done. You know what I mean, with Clerks and Mallrats and things like that. Like
he's
that's
trying
what
to stretch his arms out a little bit.
Exactly, and like Tusk is like one of my favorite monster movies of all time. Like I really love Tusk.
And I still haven't seen Tusk.
And like people shit on it, and like but I knew what it was going for. I appreciated what it was going for, and I loved it. It was something different. It was a breath of fresh air. I really loved it. And it's like, it's one of those things where you're saying, like, you know, where franchising is so big, like, so in order to fund his next couple movies, now he's going to do like a Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So he's learning, you know, you have to like play the system to make what you want. Luckily for him, you do. But luckily for him, it's called Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. He's literally making fun of sequels, prequels, reboots, and remakes. So I mean, like, and with his, you know, humor, I think that'll be a really effective movie. But
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was a Hollywood parody.
Yeah, absolutely, it really was.
And you could tell that was a movie that was made by the studio that was like, make a movie about those silly guys like that stand on the street corner. It's like you could tell maybe he was doing it just like they probably wanted him just to do a stupid Hollywood like comedy. Yeah. So he made like a movie about stupid Hollywood comedies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was he's always had that like self-aware quality about himself.
Right.
It's like I'm not just gonna.
It's satire, but that also still delivers on fart jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
And playing both fields.
But kind of going back to Twin Peaks, we're kind of talking about it in abstract terms, and I won't go too much into like what it all means.
Should we save like plot theories for like another stream?
Even though
I can't really contribute to that because I don't know.
I did just want to throw out there just so like to make people aware of like I guess that we're in on the discussion. Like even though this episode was very abstract, there are a lot of elements that do raise a lot of questions, and also
I was having some some interpretations of things,
and I felt like
trying to figure out how it's connected with the rest of the story.
And I think there are a couple of big revelations this episode has that doesn't really express it verbally, but you could sort of piece things together, like of why it would be showing you the atom bomb, you know, amongst all this.
I think, minor spoiler here, I guess you would need a specific context. I don't think it's going to mean anything to you if you haven't seen the series. I think the atom bomb was the birth of Bob.
I'm thinking larger than that. I'm thinking the spirits of the Black Lodge. That's
like that whole alternate universe?
That's why we saw all those, like, people being birthed
that's the
out
birth
of
of the Black Lodge. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
See, you don't... Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll probably...
I like TV.
Yeah.
We'll probably go more in depth on another occasion. Because there's no new episode tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they're doing an Independence Day break, so we could, instead of watching Twin Peaks, they want you to watch Independence Day, I think.
Are they showing Independence Day? On a 24-hour loop? Oh, dude. I don't know if I have enough weed for that.
I want to look at some of the comments here. Speaking of Twin Peaks being likely the last length production, which I started this one, I never finished it yet.
That's right.
Are there symbols / motifs consistent through Lynch's other work you've picked up on, e.g.
Can I step in? Being as though I don't know
the second part here.
Oh, okay.
E.g., curtains representing reality / unreality, flashes of light or electricity representing revelation or change. I ask considering I heard all of his works are in the same universe.
I think
definitely there are some connections. Yeah. I've been drawing a lot of comparisons with Ronnie Rocket. I think there's a ton of ideas in that script that he's lifted and put in the new Twin Peaks. So that's been the stuff that I've been most consistently noticing. Is like, oh, that's kind of like an idea in Ronnie Rocket. That's kind of like a little thing he was going to put in Ronnie Rocket. That's been the thing I keep thinking of. But I've also been thinking a lot about Mulholland Drive, and I think that's what you're going to mention.
Yeah, that's kind of where that's kind of where I was going to hop in there. I think Lynch would call universe like a branding kind of label. I don't think Lynch would maybe say that they're all in the same universe.
He's not trying to do like a View Askew thing.
Right.
It's
like a Marvel universe thing. Like, I think that he thinks that's more of maybe too branding, but
got a light.
Yeah,
got a light. Yeah, what the fuck was like? What was that? Like, anyway.
And the strange thing about that is that actor, the guy playing that creature, was
whoops! Sorry, Volstix, I didn't see your comment. If you read this, guys, can you touch your nose when you finish discussing Twin Peaks? I haven't watched 7 or 8 yet. Thanks. Sorry, okay. we didn't see that until now. I apologize.
And we didn't even really
Hopefully, we didn't spoil too much.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think episode 8 benefits from not knowing anything about it.
No, don't touch your nose because it means we're done talking.
Are we not done talking?
No, I wanted to say one thing about.
Yeah.
Okay, we're still discussing Twin Peaks. Sorry.
Yeah. What's interesting about that
doesn't
creature,
help that I wipe my nose.
that got a light creature. It's
that guy.
Yeah. That's played by a real life Abraham Lincoln impersonator.
Holy shit! Really?
Whoa.
That's so weird.
And people like when they were like watching the episode, they're like, that guy looks like fucking Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And when I noticed the second time watching it, is that girl is like, look, I found a penny, and she picks it up, and it's fucking Abraham Lincoln.
God.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, what? Is that supposed to be Abraham Lincoln?
Oh my
God. I don't understand.
That's so strange. Or maybe like some kind of spirit used the image of Lincoln to create a form for itself.
Yeah, like who knows? There's so many questions to be.
I'm trying not to mess with the desk because I think that's going to get picked up on the microphone.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm like kicking the desk.
And then the poem he recites too. What's even strange about that poem? This is the water, this is the well. That poem appeared in its entirety on an obscure website called Commercials I Hate, and the HTML text the day before that episode aired, and people kept sending the moderator questions like, how did you why is this poem in your code, why did you see the episode early, and then he only responded with is this past or is this present? And
holy fuck.
Yeah,
this is insane.
Yeah, there's
the Black Lodge is infiltrating reality now from this show.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really weird things going on with this that's going into real life, and it's making me really, really scared. And I don't know what it all means necessarily, but there's been some odd developments with this episode and how it's developing Twin Peaks mythology, but also just what is going on in real life with how this came out and how this happened and what it means.
Yeah. Young Peter Rolls says, getting stoned is the best way to watch it, my dude.
Hey, Young Peter, let's link up sometime. Let's blaze one.
Okay, so we're done with Twin Peaks now?
Yeah, everyone touched their nose?
Okay, yeah, Twin Peaks discussion is over now. Yeah, sorry if we spoiled anything for anybody. I didn't see that comment. I apologize.
Mm-hmm. All right. Baby Driver. I saw somebody ask about Baby Driver. Oh. Edgar Wright's new movie.
Yeah. Oh, my personal journey through cinema or something similar.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's my personal journey through American cinema.
That's
okay.
Right.
Baby Driver.
Someone did mention Baby Driver. Yeah,
I can't wait to see Baby Driver. Yeah. I love Edgar Wright. I love Kevin Spacey.
I think that came out this week, right?
It came out last night, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The reception has been very positive.
Very positive.
I want to go see that one. I think probably we might go see it in theaters soon, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Here? Like Pony Village?
Well, maybe.
Is it playing there?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. We might just go see it there.
Yeah. I just read a Reddit AMA with Edgar Wright last night.
Oh, nice.
And he had some really interesting... It made me really interested in watching because it's kind of a throwback to those, exploitation movies. He said the biggest inspiration for this one was Walter Hill's The Driver.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one mentioned a lot.
Yeah, but it's also kind of a throwback to just car fetish movies in a way, and getaway movies, and
Gone in 60 Seconds, Vanishing Point, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry.
Yeah, but knowing the way Edgar Wright does things, he's not really like an Eli Roth where he just makes a movie just as schlocky, really.
Yeah.
He really makes a movie with his own humor and his own eye and kind of energy and eye for action.
Yes.
Sort of modernizes it and brings it up to what is.
Yeah.
I know. I
Spins
would say
it with some very
conventional.
British sensibility.
Yeah, but he like sort of like takes genres that are sort of niche and makes them very accessible to a wide
That's true.
audience, I think. So I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah, we'll probably end up talking about it next stream. I don't know who. We'll probably it won't be all three of us, but I'm sure we're probably going to see it at some point next week.
Maybe
Because,
it
yeah,
could
I
be
am
all three of us.
If you're here, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm interested in seeing it. Hopefully, it's good.
Yeah. There isn't really anything else new.
Did you? I can't remember. Did you say like you thought the guy at the back of the diner from Mulholland Drive is connected like with the weird figures and?
Are we supposed to talk about this?
All right, we won't
Yeah,
spoil
see,
anything.
I mean, I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
But this person, Sasha Popovich, has been asking you about 19 times. Did you see the Ugly Boy video I sent?
Oh, the Die Antwoord Ugly Boy video?
Oh,
I've
Die
seen that
Antwoord.
video. I don't
Yeah.
know if what you sent me was different, but I've seen the music video for Ugly Boy. It's not one of my favorites of...
Which one
of
is that?
That's the one with Jack Black and Flea.
Whoa, I don't think I've seen that
Dita
one.
Von Teese.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No,
Oh,
I've
okay.
watched like almost all their videos, but I haven't seen that
I
one.
think it came out a couple months ago. They've been releasing new videos. I haven't seen any of their latest videos. But that was, I think, the last video they did for Tension, their second album.
Oh.
Now I think it's all their third album stuff that they're doing.
Right, Mount Ninja and the nice tiny.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I thought the Ugly Boy video was funny, but it wasn't one of my favorites of theirs.
I think my
but I
favorite-
usually enjoy almost all. The videos.
Everything they do is insane.
Yeah.
I think if it's not Babies on Fire, I think I like.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I think I like Evil Boy.
Mm.
That
Evil
music
Boy.
video is
Oh, that's
fucking
scary.
dope, dude.
That is a scary
Yeah,
video.
I love
like
that video.
I like Pitbull Terrier.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one.
people-
I think my favorite is I Think You Freaky.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I've
a good
always had a soft spot for that one.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite Diane Ward song. I love that song.
I Think You Freaky.
Yeah.
I've actually seen them live, and they are fucking insane.
I'd like to see them
They
live.
are really good.
Seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Like, yeah, it's a very high energy show, and it was. Yeah, I was front row with my girlfriend at the time, and
Was Chappie there? Did he rec-
Chappie. No robots were brought on stage, but when they did Pitbull Terrier, Ninja went off stage for a while, and DJ High Tech did like this really cool, awesome like show.
scratch.
Yeah, do like a scratch and like some rap and whatnot. And while that was happening, Ninja was backstage getting all the Pitbull Terrier makeup done on him.
Oh,
So he came out in full like Pitbull form,
Oh, that's
and it was
awesome.
badass. It was really really cool. But yeah, he was like showing us his dick and like mooning us and stuff like that. Like it was insane. It was a lot of fun though. And they have like dancers and like a full on laser show. Like those guys are doing exactly what they want to do, and they're loving it. And like, yeah, I think it was like the closest I've ever been to like a rave, where like people were like doing drugs and like dancing. And I was just like this is insane. And it was an outdoor amphitheater in the middle of summer in Eugene, Oregon. So it was really hot, and like it was just like this like crazy experience. But I had a lot of fun. That was the night where I smacked that beer out of that girl's hand because she was being obnoxious.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like these girls tried like picking on my girlfriend for no reason because they wanted her spot next to me, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. So like, they just wanted her spot. So like they were like really being mean. So like this one girl was like just being absolutely obnoxious. I turned around, I smacked her drink out of her hand, and I was just like be a good person, like stop this nonsense. And her boyfriend like got all buck, and I'm just like, all right, like getting ready to like do the thing. And he's like, no, it's cool, like she should behave, like stop that. And I'm like, that's fucking right. But
It sounds like a scene.
it almost was. But then again, like as soon as Diane Ward, because that was before Diane Ward even started, there was like 2 or 3 like opening acts that were really weird and yeah, so it's like, but after that, like once Diane Ward, people knew like Diane Ward was taking the stage next, everybody like smashed up to the front. And like me and my girl at the time were like right up front, literally like right up front, and like people were like wanted our spots because like dead center. And like we weren't moving, like no, we'd been there like all day waiting in line and all that. So it's just like, yeah, these people were just being like really nasty. Obviously, people who have never been to a concert before, because typically you don't do that kind of stuff. Like whoever has that spot obviously has probably been waiting there in line and got there first. So relax. But yeah, they were just like young kids. I could tell they were like in their early 20s. So I was like, smacked the drink out of her hand, and I was just like, be a good person, knock this crap off. And yeah, like she was expecting like her boyfriend to like fight me or something like that, and I was just ready. I was ready for it. Like, but he was like, stop it, stop, don't do that. Like, yeah, it was pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it pays off being a big person.
It really helps being a big guy because it's just like I don't know. It's just like when I can like inhale my chest and get all big. It's like a balloon. Like I'm already really round, but now I'm just like puffed out. So
we were just talking about this last night. How you just got back from a trip to China not too long ago.
Yeah.
And you're basically immortal in China.
Oh yeah, I'm literally like the Hulk. Like I mean, like I can do whatever I want in China. It's unreal. And we were talking about writing a screenplay, an American in China, and like just having like this
obnoxious American tourist.
Yeah. Just having like where like, I destroy the city and I'm bulletproof and like that's pretty much what it felt like. I mean, like the tallest person I ever met in China came up to like right here. So I mean, no, it was it pays off sometimes being really big. People don't really mess with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Enough about my life. This isn't even my channel.
I'm gonna read Eddie Moriarty's comment, and then we'll probably talk about Warcraft
to wrap up.
Yeah.
Oh, I might leave during that. I have no dog in this race.
You might enjoy some of it.
This discussion.
Have you ever read the novel Zeroville by Steve Erickson? It's my favorite novel, and I think it's the perfect novel for cinephiles. James Franco actually adapted it, but the release has been delayed.
Zeroville.
Yeah, I've never read it.
Has he not adapted?
Yeah, he's adapting books nonstop right now.
If he's adapting the dictionary into a movie.
Turns out the zebra did it. Stephen Wright joke.
Yeah.
No, I actually haven't read Zeroville, but I think I did hear about that James Franco's releasing that soon. And he's also got The Disaster Artist coming out. The movie about the making of The Room.
Tommy Wiseau.
Which I've heard is really good. But yeah, I haven't really heard anything about Zeroville, but I'll try and make sure I check it out. Right now, I'm trying to finish all the books I just have on my shelf that I haven't read.
They're all for show.
Yeah, essentially.
There's empty books.
Right now I'm reading Vonnegut. I'm getting through Slaughterhouse 5. I've never read this one before, but it's really good. I read my first Vonnegut novel a little while back. I read Cat's Cradle, which was excellent, and I'm really liking Slaughterhouse 5. It's got a very unusual structure and tone to it, but Vonnegut's quickly becoming one of my favorites.
I think Slaughterhouse 6 is where it really picks up his speed. And
the series really found its footing
really
in Slaughterhouse 6.
At 6, it was really top notch.
7 dropped the ball a bit, but
8 redeemed itself.
Yeah. Once I'm finished with Slaughterhouse 5, I'm going to read my first Jean Genet novel. I've never read Genet before. So I've got plenty of reading to get through, but I made a note of Zeroville. I'll try to see if I can get around to that one too.
I'm reading Hollywood Babylon right now.
Nice.
Kenneth Anger's Hollywood Babylon.
It's a lot of fun.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I'm reading Lord of the Rings.
Hey, nice.
Never read those books before, and I finished The Hobbit. When I went to Europe, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit underneath the Eiffel Tower. I'm gonna read The Hobbit, not from start to finish. I had already started it when I went over to Europe, and I finished it in Paris. But I always wanted to read next to the Eiffel Tower, so that's what I did.
Nice.
So
that sounds cool.
It was cool.
If you're reading Lord of the Rings, then you have your next year planned. Then
I'm going to New Zealand. I'm gonna walk the trail to Mordor and read Lord of the Rings. So.
Have you seen Jon Favreau's Chef? It's joyous and the very definition of feel good, feel great. Really, I haven't seen.
Yeah,
have any of you
that's
guys
a really
seen
good
Chef?
one.
That's
You've
me.
seen Chef?
Yeah, I watched it with my roommates. In college
I haven't
back in
seen
the
it.
day.
I always see it on Netflix, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's not one that I kind of what you were saying with the Bad Batch. You weren't like into it, like because it didn't hit you on a personal chord. But it's one that I appreciated because it was a movie that you could tell he kind of made from his heart.
He did it on like a really small scale, right?
Small scale.
Took a break from Iron Man.
A big diversion from his big studio movies like Jungle Book, Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah.
Like this was a very small movie about family and about going with your passion and going for what makes you happy and trying to live your dream. Because it's basically about like it's really a metaphor for his life. It's about this chef that works in a big restaurant, big fancy restaurant. And like he's like this world-renowned chef, and he's like very successful and independent. Like he's basically like a studio filmmaker.
Yeah.
And then like it's about him like really going for a smaller, more humble life, and
he starts
a food truck.
Yeah, starts a food truck.
And going out and sort of like connecting with his family, and going out and just being one-to-one with people, making food, giving them their product, and having that connection with his audience essentially.
Interesting.
And it's really good. Yeah, it's I think it was one that he maybe had in his head for a while and
Yeah.
was finally able to make, which I'm happy for him.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's not, like I said, it's not one that's like, it's one after it was done, I was like, yeah, it was sweet. And then afterwards, it's kind of like,
Really?
like I don't feel the need to rewatch it really, but
Well, I'll still give it a look. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll react to it.
mm-hmm.
Sounds interesting. But yeah, I think we should talk about the last thing that's in the title of the video, the Warcraft movie. We just watched this. No, stick around.
No, I'm
Okay.
just getting uncomfortable because this is gonna probably suck for me.
I think we could just sum it up with a couple words, really.
Really? I think there's stuff to discuss about this
Yeah.
one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, first off, it sucks, right?
You really didn't like it. I think my reaction was a little bit warmer than yours. But this is kind of an interesting one. The reviews were horrible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It got really poor reviews. Most of the things I've heard from, because Warcraft obviously is based on the Blizzard games, the classic
Right.
PC real-time strategy game series. It's from what I understand, it got horrible reviews from critics. The fans of the game actually really liked it.
Yeah.
Whenever I listen to somebody who is a longtime fan of the game series, when they talk about the movie, they say they really liked it. So apparently the movie is very faithful to the series and the lore and the story and everything. I think it's made by somebody who was a big fan of the PC games, Duncan Jones. You know, he's definitely, I don't think he's any stranger to geek culture. I'm sure he has a familiarity with a lot of that. So it probably came from a basis of somebody who was a fan of the games and wanted to try to do something faithful. For me, as somebody with no context of the games, I've never played any of the Warcraft games. I've never played World of Warcraft. I might have started a character on World of Warcraft when it was becoming big and all of my friends were playing it, but I played it for maybe 5 minutes and kind of lost interest. It wasn't my thing. But this movie, it flopped in the United States. I don't think anybody really saw it, and then it did huge business in China.
I was in China when Warcraft came out, and like there was like orcs walking around in the streets and stuff, and like it was crazy. Like yeah, like
That
there
movie was
were
big,
literally billboards, but like not like billboards you see in America, like billboards that were like as big as like a football field. I mean, like these
Whoa.
massive, huge banners hanging from these massive buildings, and like it's like, this is so stupid. Like this is so nuts. And then
Okay.
like I went and saw a movie. What movie did I see over in China? When
Great
Warcraft.
Wall.
No, I didn't see Great Wall. I can't remember. I went and saw a movie when I was over there, and there was this massive Warcraft, like little, not little. Oh, why did I say that? It was a cardboard cutout that also had like trees and rocks and stuff in it, and like you look like you're on like the battle set. Like it was like the marketing over in China for this movie was unreal.
I mean, it made its money in China. Like,
Yeah,
it was
essentially. It made almost
yeah.
nothing in the U.S., made a ton of money at the foreign box office, the international box office, specifically China.
Kind of
I
locked
don't
it for
know.
a sequel, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they're planning on continuing the series, because this movie really isn't its own movie. It's the setup for a series,
Yeah.
essentially. There isn't a resolution to it,
No.
which I found very disappointing.
Yeah.
But coming at this as somebody with really no familiarity with the game series, and who was trying not to go into it, I guess, with a preconceived, like, negative perception of it, of like, oh, this is gonna suck. I was trying to be positive. I was trying to be open-minded about it. I thought, on a scale of video game movies, this is one of the better ones that I've seen.
If we're talking video game movies, then okay, it's all right. But
Because what else is there? I mean, like, Mortal Kombat.
I'd say Mortal
which-
Kombat's like the top.
Those
like,
are
the
camp
best.
classics.
Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat movies, especially Annihilation, those are camp classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super Mario Brothers is definitely a horrible movie.
Yeah, it's horrible, but for
we
being...
do enjoy it because we watched
Yeah.
it all the time when we were kids.
Mhm. And it's kind of like it's like Blade Runner for kids in a way.
A little
Like-
bit. Yeah, it is very dark
Yeah.
and dystopian.
Yeah, I love it just because it's like a misfit movie.
Yeah, something that shouldn't have happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what else is there? Like
There's, like,
recently,
more recent
the
shit.
Uwe
Resident
Boll
Evil.
stuff.
The Resident Evil.
Yeah,
stuff.
Resident
Blood
Evil,
Rain.
yeah, Blood Rain, Alone in the Dark. There's a lot of pretty poor
Silent
examples.
Hill.
Silent Hill's not bad. I think visually Silent Hill is actually pretty well done. I think it's a very well-made movie with a pretty much incomprehensible story.
Mhm.
But Warcraft,
It's kind of the first.
I felt like they were putting a genuine effort into this thing.
Yeah,
Because of the scale, it had to be basically Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
But it felt like it was still trying to be grounded in whatever fandom there was for the movies. It was trying to bring dramatic conflict to each character. It's just,
I think they were trying to do that with one side of the story.
You think?
I think they tried to do that, and they did it actually fairly well with the ogre story. Of it being like, you get a sense of like the dark magic or whatever shit is
yeah, there's a lot that it throws at you. And
Yeah,
we were
it's like,
drawing
I
a
don't
lot
get
of
it.
comparisons to Lord of the Rings. Like
Yeah.
for a complicated fantasy story, Lord of the Rings is the example of how to do it very right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as a really engaging film where even if you haven't read the books, you're not lost. You're following everything. It's very clear. There's an emotional resonance to it. You can understand everything. Warcraft is an example of. I think it really tries. It tries to bring some drama. I think like with the ogre, it tries to have a conflict there. He's going against his own kind. I think with the humans, it tries to have a conflict there of.
But
Like with the dark wizard, he's being corrupted by his magic, but he's still loyal to his king.
yeah,
And there's the woman who's half ogre, half human. She's torn between two worlds.
yeah.
I felt like it was trying to have a dramatic conflict with each character.
Yeah.
It's just the problem was there were so many characters. There
Yeah.
were so many tribes and groups, and there were so many subplots happening, and there was so much intrigue going on. And very little of it is well established.
Yeah,
it's just
it
kind of
just
like,
throws
here's
you
this,
in.
here's that, here we go, we gotta go.
And like the
We only have 2 hours to tell this huge story, so we gotta get things going. And you're
We're-
kind of just like, what the hell?
We were laughing at like the scene that you're supposed to like get invested in the ogre storyline, where it's like basically it's just Hodor, for whatever his name is,
Yeah.
rubbing his pregnant wife's belly.
Yeah, the classic thing
Yeah.
to make a character sympathetic.
Yeah, it's like,
He's got
oh,
a family on the way.
we're of child, and he's on the, and then she goes like, oh, you have worm breath, and he goes, oh, wife, what am I gonna do with you? But it's like, oh, we love each other. I'm like, fuck, this is bad.
Didn't work for you.
No, it's like the most. It's like the quickest, most efficient, but lamest way to try
it's
to
like
get
a
you to
dramatic
empathize.
shortcut. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
But-
agree with you there.
But I was surprised at how much I did want him to succeed at the end. Like, I really did want to
Yeah.
see him take control of the tribe and be like, we don't want your dark magic in our tribe anymore. We want the ogres to run the ogres. And, like, it's dumb as shit, but, like, at least I was like, I was a little bit invested to see him, like, overcome.
Yeah.
But
Somebody said Dennis Hopper in Super Mario Bros. Is some funny shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he kills it in that movie.
But yeah, this God, where do I even begin to try and like pick apart Warcraft? But
Well,
like,
my problem with it, honestly, was the blending of the
yeah,
real
that
life,
is
the
that
real
is
life
something I wanted to
actors
mention.
and
The special effects are an integral part of this movie.
Yeah.
There are special effects everywhere. Many characters are created through like cutting edge digital effects. Everybody has some kind of special effect going on. There's a good chunk of human characters where there's nothing going on, but there are many characters created through CGI.
Yeah.
And sometimes it looks really good. Like when they have a close-up of an ogre's face, it's like, holy shit. Like essentially the first shot of the movie proper, there's like a brief prologue that kind of looks like a
Video game
cutscene.
yeah.
It's like, this doesn't look like a movie. But then it cuts to a close-up of the ogre's face, and it's just like 15 seconds of him just looking and not really doing anything. And it actually gives you a long moment to just look at his face. And it's like, wow, that looks amazing. It actually, there are moments where it does look completely real.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you're dealing with a movie on a huge scale. There are thousands of special effects,
Right.
hundreds of special
'Cause
effect
then
shots. Not all of them are that good.
Because then, like, we saw that amazing shot of his face, and then the very next shot we laughed out loud because we saw his big dumb hands and
His
big
tiny head,
yeah,
yeah.
and his hammer, and we're like, this just isn't working.
Yes, and especially where the special effects are strained is when it tries to combine a digital character with a real actor.
And somehow the real actor looks more fake than the digital
Yeah,
character.
because everything else is created through special effects, and you got this one physical person in there. It's like, that does not look like he's in the same movie. That looks like two movies they're trying to combine together.
People complained about how the prequels looked and how it didn't really...
Star Wars prequels?
Yeah, but at least it looked like they kind of belonged in the area.
Yeah,
but like
they had like a consistent feel to it.
Yeah, but like this one, man, it just felt like...
Yeah, there was the ogre movie, and then there was the human movie. And whenever they came together, it's like, this is not blending together at all.
And I was
it's such a clash.
I couldn't believe the costume design for the movie either. To me, it felt so cheap. Like it
did
really
feel a little too polished.
Do they have like massive shoulder pads?
Yeah,
a little bit. They toned that down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess in the game they have these huge
like
shoulders.
you're judged on how big your shoulder pads are.
They toned that down a lot.
Fucking hockey player or something.
All the characters were so stock. It's like they went to a Halloween store and grabbed like wizard costume, knight costume.
Really?
Yeah, it looks.
I haven't even seen like a trailer for this movie.
Ben Foster's wizard is like
a purple gown.
Yeah, purple gown with the hood and the big beard. Like it just felt so
seemed like
stock.
he didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah, and then like his eyes go like bright and he waves his hands and it's
Shalakazam!
Yeah, but then the ogre world felt very detailed and felt very worn and felt like a real place that had been lived in. And then you go to the human world, it just seems like, oh, this is a fantasy set now.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like a big budget fan film in some scenes.
A little bit, yeah.
And I think it does like. Duncan Jones is a good director.
Yes, Duncan Jones. Yeah, somebody said he's David Bowie's son, but he goes by Duncan Jones because I think he really wants to. He doesn't want to be known just as David Bowie's son.
And
so it's almost like a piece of trivia for most people that he's a filmmaker first. He's David Bowie's son second, which I think is good for him that he's managed to do that.
Yeah, I did think this movie was a big mess, but there was a certain level of confidence with it. It's like
I think there was a commitment.
It didn't feel like he was like.
Yeah, it wasn't just made by some guy who was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to do a Warcraft movie. Yeah. It felt like somebody who actually who was trying to mix the studio expectations with his place as a fan of the game, and it wasn't a very solid mixture, but it felt like he at least was committed to the idea of it and really tried his best.
Yeah.
But I don't think in the end it really worked. Yeah, I just kept thinking of Lord of the Rings the whole time, like how that movie really takes its time. There's a prologue setting up all the backstory. This is everything you need to know. It's visually engaging, and it's going to catch you up if you don't have any context for the books. Now let's go to the Shire, and let's take our time. Let's establish the world. Let's establish the characters. Let's ease our way into the story and the drama so that you're really grounded and you know where you are. And we're going to keep the special effects restrained in the first half. Like, it's real sets. It's real actors, real costumes. Even the hobbits, they do mostly through in-camera tricks. Yeah. And it's all physically there. So you can feel very grounded and you can ease your way into the story. It's like, oh, okay, I know what's going on now. Then they start throwing the crazier stuff at you and the big special effects and the giant trolls and the Balrogs. You're ready for it at that point because it's built up to. Warcraft is just like, all right, shit. Here's the dwarves. Here's the humans. Here's the king. Here's this thing. Here's the ogres, and here's the dark wizard, and all this stuff. And it just starts, and you're expected to kind of just follow along, and you don't really have any idea who the characters are. You kind of figure out as you go along what the conflict is, and where the different worlds and tribes are, and the conflicts with the characters, and the conflicts within the ogres and within the humans. But it's just like, it throws you into it immediately and expects you to kind of just catch up.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you really don't have any time to actually get invested in what's happening. You don't know, like, the main guy, like the badass human warrior, I had no idea who he was, what role he was playing. It's just like he could kill ogres better than anyone else. It's like, I don't know who this guy is. He makes a sarcastic comment every now and again.
Because he has the most XP and best armor.
Yeah. Legendary loot drops. Yeah. But it's like, I'm not invested in this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't have any sense of like his personality, and I don't really care what happens to him. You're right. I did get sort of engaged with the ogre character, where they did take a little bit more time to establish him.
Like, it was cliche in a lot of aspects, but it at least felt like there was some personality and some emotion in that story.
Yeah, but then I thought they fucked up the resolution because they
they
have to set up a franchise. They have to set it up for the sequel. It's like a resolution is set up. It's like, okay, we're gonna have a confrontation now that's building up to everything. and you feel like, okay, like this is good, like it's just one-on-one, it's one character versus another character, it's drama, it's conflict, this feels like a good resolution to the story. And then it just doesn't resolve.
It's
like,
the biggest
wait,
anti-climax.
yeah, it's like, wait, what? Like all of that was for nothing? Everything we were building up to, like it's just irrelevant? And I thought it was like, oh, okay, because we have to have a big battle scene between ogres and humans, and then it goes into the big battle scene
where the two parties run at each other.
Yeah, and big special effects clash into one another. It's like, okay, I guess you have an obligation to deliver a big action set piece, and then again, it resolves nothing.
Yeah,
and it's like, now this was the beginning. Now get ready for Warcraft 2. It's like, what a ripoff! This is not even its own movie. It's like a prologue.
That's how I literally
it's a
felt.
2-hour prologue.
That's how I felt about Rogue One. I feel like this isn't a fucking film. Like, nothing is happening. Like, it's literally 20 minutes before the start of the 4th movie. Like,
what's the point?
Yeah,
so it's like
they say the rule in storytelling: what is the most interesting period of your character's life? And if you're not telling a story about that period, the most interesting period, why are you telling this story? Why not tell that other story? Like Rogue One, it's like, or like Warcraft is like, is this the most interesting point of the story, or could we have just started like in the middle of everything and gotten this backstory over the course of that film? I think you could have easily done that. But it's like now, it's like we need the setup for the franchise, and then we need the big sequel, and then it becomes a trilogy, and then we end up doing 5. It's like, I hate that. Like, people seem to, if storytelling is more just about establishing a franchise rather than actually trying to tell a full story in one single film. It's like, we got to split it up into 3. So once you get it all, then it's a complete movie. But each movie on its own is just a piece.
Yeah. I think if Warcraft 2 does come out, it'll probably be more of the same, honestly. Maybe it'll be a little bit more focused.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly can't say I'm too interested in seeing another Warcraft after this one.
I've gotten my fill of the Warcraft universe.
We almost just kind of watched it, because we figured it'd be a disaster and kind of fun to watch, and it sort of was. There was a lot of it didn't work, and we were giggling to ourselves quite a bit, but I felt like there was something there. There was some kind of genuine attempt on Duncan Jones's part, because I think he is a really talented filmmaker. Moon, I think, is a fantastic, really low-budget, claustrophobic sci-fi story. Very clever, very well made. And Sam Rockwell's great in it.
In a way, this was kind of his Dune. You know, like
a little bit.
it got away from him a bit, but it's still like, I think it'll make him a stronger filmmaker that he's experienced it.
I'm glad that his next film, he's going to something smaller and more intimate. His next movie is actually being done for Netflix, and it's called Mute. And I think it's reuniting him with Sam Rockwell, and it's this smaller sort of sci-fi thriller. So I'm really excited for that. I'm glad that he's not losing sight of, his more esoteric sensibilities and trying something else.
Actually, the last shot of Warcraft was really, really good. When it's like after the battle, and they're like, and then it zooms out into the sky, and then you see a computer mouse.
Yeah.
And then you see a hand go down on the computer mouse, and there's Cheeto dust on the fingers.
That's not true. That's not real. Okay, you're joking. Holy shit. I was like, no way. That's not how this ended. Like,
you hear a crunch, and then it rains like Lay's chips, like debris down on them.
He's like, Mom, I need more gang fuel.
I was hoping that at least in one battle scene they would have damage readouts appear over the characters' heads.
I was hoping during the battle scene, like, there would be like a live action streamer in the corner, like playing. Yeah.
That would have been good.
I was really hoping there'd be some kind of meta joke.
That would have been a resolution.
Yeah. Like of him hitting autosave, and then like that's the end of the movie. Of like, all right,
I'll get back to this later.
Yeah, like I'm at a good safe spot, and then like the next movie is when he like continues.
He logs back in.
Yeah, the next movie he forgets his password and he has to like find
call Blizzard. Like, hey.
Oh yeah, Moon is fucking great, and Source Code is good, even though the studio pushed for a happy ending. Yeah, I thought Source Code was a better balance of that he was delivering like a big studio action thriller, but at the same time also trying to do something really unusual and an original idea, doing something different. I thought Source Code was a better balance of his more like arty sensibilities, but also delivering a studio action movie. Warcraft, you're right. It did get out of hand for him. Mm-hmm. I think he didn't have as much control over that one. Moon is still his best movie.
Yeah,
but
Moon is fantastic.
I do.
Yeah.
I am excited for Mute. I hope that ends up being good.
I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
This chair is really unforgiving.
You-
2.5 hours.
Have you reached your endurance limit?
I think so.
It's getting warm now,
It's
yeah.
hot. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I want to take a shower.
Let's take a last look at some of the stuff up here.
So I saw somebody asked you about the Coen Brothers, Felix.
Oh, yeah,
Did somebody ask me a question?
Felix, are you a fan of the Coen brothers?
I am a fan of the Coen brothers. I think I'm a long lost Coen brother. There was a third, but we got separated. Yeah, Big Lebowski and Oh Brother are two of my all-time favorite films, and I mean everything in between that they've done.
Pineapple Squid said, Leroy Jenkins comes in and ruins the ending. That would have been good.
That's awesome. Leroy, the movie's just ruined. Just straight to credits now.
We have to rescue our people from the ogres. Leroy Jenkins! What is he doing?
How did they not do
Damn it,
that?
Leroy.
How did they not do that?
I'm sure there's a Leroy Jenkins reference in there somewhere. I think we just missed it.
Admirable Jenkins,
But that
what
would
do
have
you
been
think?
good.
Like,
God damn it, Leroy.
Yeah.
that would have been
At least
awesome.
I have chicken.
Good God.
Okay, so yeah, Coen brothers, sorry.
Doesn't matter anymore. They're cool dudes. I didn't really enjoy. I want to see it again, but I wasn't crazy about Hail Caesar.
I
their
haven't
most
seen that
recent.
one yet.
Yeah,
I
I
forgot
wasn't.
about that.
I wasn't really over the moon. Did we see that together?
I never saw it.
Oh, okay. That was maybe one I did solo. I wasn't crazy about, but I mean, like Hudsucker Proxy and Fargo and all the other genius work they've done. I'm a huge
You like
fan of.
Hudsucker Proxy?
I do really like Hudsucker
Okay,
Proxy.
I've heard mixed things on that.
I
I'm kind of half and half.
I really enjoyed it. The only movie of theirs I haven't dug. The only movie I thought was pretty unenjoyable, and it was a long time ago. Maybe I need to re-see it. Was Intolerable Cruelty. With Tom Hanks
no.
excuse me, that's Lady
George
Killers.
Clooney.
George
Yeah,
Clooney.
Yeah. That was like the only one
Cruelty.
they've done that was basically just a straight romantic comedy.
Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of that one, and I was on a huge Coen Brothers kick. I watched like their entire filmography over the course of like a week, and like Raising Arizona, I think is maybe my third favorite of theirs. I really loved Raising Arizona.
That was a good one.
But Oh
that's
Brother,
a great
Where
one.
Art Thou and The Big Lebowski are movies that you can literally say, hey, I'm watching this, and I'll be like, hey, I'm sitting next to you. Like, I will always make time for those flicks. And
Two of your favorites?
yeah, oh, most certainly. And like Raising Arizona is like a movie that like I think is genius. I think it's hilarious. I love it. I love quoting it. I mean, Nicolas Cage is like, he's almost on the level of Keanu Reeves to me, to where he's kind of transcended normal acting, and it's just kind of like
He's
a
a
genius in
voodoo
its own
shaman.
way,
Yeah.
right? Because like I mean,
That's his acting style. Is he casts a spell over
Yeah.
himself and puts himself in
'Cause,
a
like,
trance.
you-
And I'm not kidding. He actually
I
does
mean,
that.
you'll see something like The Wicker Man and be like, fuck, this is not good. And then you'll see something like Port of Call New Orleans,
Yeah.
Bad Lieutenant.
At the very least, you could say he throws everything he has, for better or for worse, into every performance
yeah,
he
I mean,
does.
he's definitely very, very invested, and like Bringing Out the Dead, you know what I mean? Like he has
Yeah.
these awesome, and 8mm. I think 8mm is kind of an I think underrated is too low key of a way to put it, but I mean like Joaquin Phoenix and fucking Nicolas Cage are like this cop like buddy movie, but like Joaquin Phoenix is like a sex store worker, and like Nicolas Cage is like this like kind of like burnt out shoddy kind of detective. Like I don't know, it's a genius flick, and I really dig it. The music is good, and like it's a little cheesy I think in some parts, but I mean I fucking love it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Peter Stormare is in there. Right?
Peter Stormare
Yeah.
is in that.
He's always
and
great.
he's in the Coen flicks, and he's in The Big Lebowski, Fargo. I mean, like,
I'm
he's
fucking
genius.
hungry now,
Yeah.
I want
All
pancakes.
right, well, we'll go get laid and we'll go get some pancakes. But yeah, so I mean, yes. To answer your question very simply, sorry, I have kind of a long roundabout way of answering what I want for dinner. But yeah, I do like the Coen Brothers. Though Hail Caesar, I thought was more of an exercise rather than a flick.
I still need to see that one.
yeah.
I've heard mixed things about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was definitely them. I think trying some new shit, and I think that. Definitely more of an experiment and an exercise, definitely rather than a complete film.
They're always definitely just doing their own thing. Like
Yeah.
every film is very distinctively a Coen
No
Brothers
Country
film.
for Old Men. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's a great.
God
one.
damn, that's a good flick.
Even
yeah.
though that's like word for word Cormac McCarthy, it
Right.
still feels so Coen Brothers.
Yeah,
I don't know how they
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But every film
I
just
forgot
feels like
all
theirs.
about No Country for Old Men. Jeez, I'm gonna have to reevaluate the tier of my favorite Coens.
That's
But-
that's almost goes beyond the greatest Coen Brothers movies and just goes to the greatest movies
Yeah,
ever
absolutely.
made.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No Country
That's
for Old
one of the
Men is-
very,
yeah.
very few adaptations of a book that actually outdoes the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
amazing.
And I think honestly, like,
There's definitely some Coen touches though, like the mother, Llewellyn's mother.
Yeah.
You know how many people I know in El Paso, Texas? That's how many. That's very Coen.
I feel like everything Stephen Root does in that movie too is
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot he was
yeah,
in
that's
right. He's
that. Yeah,
definitely-
Bill Dauterive.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say?
Oh, there's some love for Hail Caesar. Jack Chet Cutie. I'm so sorry. I know I butchered your name there, but Jack says I kind of love Hail Caesar. So there's some love out there.
and
for
I'm
it.
not. I didn't say it was bad. I just thought
A Serious Man is the
Oh
bomb.
yeah, see, like, yeah, everybody loves the fucking Coen brothers. They're awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of their more recent work. The last one I saw when it was new was
Inside Llewyn Davis.
no, I didn't see
Oh
that.
God, I still haven't seen Inside Llewyn Davis
Oh wow.
either.
Okay.
I think the most recent one I saw was No Country for Old Men.
Wow.
I haven't really been
What
keeping
about
up.
Burn After Reading?
Oh, I saw
Burn
I did
After
see Burn.
fucking
Yeah, I saw
Reading,
Burn After
yeah.
Reading. That was the most recent one I saw.
You know what I get Burnt After Reading Burn After Reading always confused with? Because they literally have like the same color scheme on the Blu-ray too. The Men Who Stare at Goats. That's Grant Heslov, right?
Another
Yeah.
goofy George Clooney movie.
Yeah, with Kevin Spacey and Jeff Bridges. It almost feels like in a way like almost a sequel to The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
But I really love The Men Who Stare at Goats, but I always get it confused with Burn After Reading
Yeah.
because they both have this orange and red and yellow like color palette like on their movie covers and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it's like
so-
the same graphic designer made.
Yeah,
each
exactly.
cover. Yeah.
Same exact text.
I
and
do-
like it's
I do love George Clooney when he's in his dumb mode.
yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
my favorite George Clooney is when he's playing like a clueless character.
like
He's
in Batman.
yeah, I mean, he can do he can do charming, sophisticated leading man really well, but I love it when he plays just like a bonehead.
Yeah,
like in
I'm a Dapper Dan man, damn it!
Yeah.
Like, this place is
I
a
don't
goddamn
want pop. God damn it!
yeah. This place is a goddamn geographical odyssey. 2 weeks from everywhere. Like,
Well, his
yeah.
character in Burn After Reading is great too.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
dildo chair. Like, man,
He's so good at those kinds of
yeah,
characters.
he really is.
Mhm.
And Ocean's 11 is almost kind of like a mix between those. I think.
He's pretty.
he's pretty suave. I remember. In
He pretends to be dumb at points in the
Yeah,
Ocean's movie,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it turns out it was like part of his plan the whole
Yeah,
time.
he's-
I find
yeah,
that kind of
he's-
annoying, like the omnipotent characters.
Mhm.
Like I dislike when a villain is too omnipotent. It's like, oh, I planned for this, and they have some kind of rigged thing ready to go. And
I liked Ocean's 11. I haven't seen 12, 13, 14, 15, or 16.
they're enjoyable. I like the Ocean's movies, but it always bugs me at the end that it just turns out like they knew what was going to happen the whole time.
Yeah.
To me, that feels like an anticlimax. It was like Mission Impossible 5, and they did
there-
the same thing.
There's
It's like
still
we
some
knew
high
it was going
tension
to happen the
kind
whole
of
time.
stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
like when the
I
little
think
monkey
they're-
man is trying to like get out of like the little safe thing, and he breaks his hand and
Well,
all
I
that.
think they're very subversive movies. They're playing around with the idea of a heist movie, and they're very meta. And Steven Soderbergh really likes experimenting and playing around with it. So I think they're good, and they're really fun movies and really unusual movies for like a big franchise. They have such an arty sensibility and a playful mood.
right.
But just in storytelling, it always bugs me that when characters turn out to have been omnipotent and have already planned ahead for everything. It always feels like a cop-out to me.
I think in Ocean's 11, though, I don't think I was so invested that this is going to be a groundbreaking movie that I kind of expected it. I expected those quality traits from it.
Like a big twist at the end.
Yeah, I
Okay.
kind of saw something like that coming. I wasn't like Ocean's 11 is going to be a groundbreaking kind of new take on the genre. I kind of enjoyed the fact that it almost was a little campy, and it does kind of work out perfectly because I knew it was probably going to work out perfectly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, I like vulnerability in characters. I don't like the invincible tough guy. That's a
Absolutely,
main
and
character.
I agree with you there. Just with
I like
Ocean's
vulnerability.
11,
Yeah.
I
with-
respond to that, and to me, like having it turn out that the characters knew what was going to happen the whole time, it short sells the drama.
And I would totally agree with you, but there's something about Ocean's 11 that I feel like with the humor in it and the way it kind of presents itself that
Just the laid back mood.
very
of it.
laid back. Yeah, because I don't watch Ocean's 11 to like watch like a Bond movie or like a serious heist movie, because then I'll watch what's that so good movie Sexy Beast. Like, if I want, like,
yeah,
you know, if I
Sexy
really want to watch
Beast.
something that's really, you know, crazy and different and amazing, I'll watch Sexy Beast. But when I just want to watch, you know, George Clooney and a bunch of his buddies just fuck around at a casino,
Yeah.
I'll
It
put
has
on
a
Oceans,
Rat
you know?
Pack feel to it.
It does, and
definitely.
that to me, like, it kind of hits me in a nostalgia I've never really had for Hollywood, where it feels kind of like a Rat Packy kind of way.
Yeah.
But
Oh no, I've heard about this. Don Cheadle, worst English accent ever.
this is coming from, I think you are a Brit, if I
Believe so,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
I've heard that. Yeah, that John Cheadle's accent to a British ear is very bad.
and I think
Luckily,
it
we
works
don't
for the
have that.
flick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think,
as an American, I don't really notice
Yeah.
it, but I'm sure for an English person, it can be a little bit grating.
Yeah.
but I think I'm spent. We're hitting about 3 hours. You guys want to continue? Go for it. But my ass hurts. My stomach
Yeah.
hurts.
My
I want to take a
back and
shower.
yeah, I can't feel.
Javier Bardem, yes, young Peter Roll. I got in a fight with a friend of mine because I think Javier Bardem was more scary in No Country for Old Men than the Joker was intense in The Dark Knight, and that started a huge fight with one of my buddies, and he
He's
told
great.
me, Javier Bardem.
Bardem, yeah.
God,
That's
remember-
one of the best villains.
Remember when No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood came out like within the same month?
They were both playing at the theater at the same
God
time.
damn,
that was
a good-
intense.
that was a
Yeah.
good time to be a movie fan.
Oh yeah. What year was that?
That was 2007.
2007. Was it 2008? That was kind of a rough year for Hollywood.
I think 2008
Had a
was
rough
Dark
couple
Knight.
years.
Dark
Oh,
Knight
yeah,
was
yeah.
2008.
Okay.
And I just remember that thinking like, man, I don't know what I like more, There Will Be Blood or No Country. There wasn't like the one
Yeah.
movie that was like,
To have
oh,
two
that's
movies that
right.
good in theaters at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
something special.
Paul Thomas Anderson is a genius.
yeah.
Yes.
PTA is on another level.
Mhm.
But anyway, I think I'm gonna say goodbye because I'm like in pain right now.
We'll bring it to a close.
Oh, I'm not. You guys can go. I'm saying all.
No, I think it's about.
Yeah,
I think it's about time
yeah.
to close it up.
We gotta do something.
Some love for Inside Llewyn Davis too. Inside Llewyn Davis grows on you. It's a real underrated Coen Brothers film in my opinion. I've been meaning to buy the Criterion edition of it. I actually
it.
own the Criterion Blu-ray. Haven't watched it yet, so I need to get around to
Yeah,
it. So
I-
I'll try to make sure that
I
happens.
own it too, actually.
I need to
so.
catch up
You
with
wanna-
recent Coen, so I need to watch that.
Yeah. Hail Caesar too. You want last question, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you guys want to share some thoughts on John Woo's Face Off, please?
I've heard from here it looked like John Wick's Face Off. I was like, are they doing a John Wick
Huh,
Face Off
that's
movie?
interesting.
John Woo's Face Off. Fun movie. Worth it just to see Cage and Travolta.
Yeah, I think John Woo invests it with an operatic quality that elevates it beyond just the silly Hollywood action film that it
Yeah.
is. It's got a real bigness to it in theme and scope that I really like about that John Woo did.
Yeah. I
That
think
he has the symbolism of the doves and the duality, and these guys are mirror images of one another. Those are ideas and themes he played with a lot, and like The Killer
Yeah.
and Hard Boiled, and he really takes it to its most ridiculous extreme.
Is that the one
with
with-
Face Off, where they literally become one another?
Yeah.
But he tries his damnedest to sell it, and I think it's a pretty fun movie.
Is that the one with the prison with the magnet boots?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's right.
And just John Travolta and Nick Cage hamming it up the whole time.
yeah.
I think it's a really entertaining,
It's a
fun
good one.
movie.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Pineapple Squid. I hate Face Off. Screw slow motion doves. You got to be willing to go along with just the full on soap opera camp of it.
Yeah.
but
even,
also
like,
with the sincerity.
I actually watched Face Off with Jay Leno.
What?
Yeah, I in a house I lived in Miami. My dad was friends with, in my mind, was Jay Leno, and it was literally like Jay Leno's doppelganger. And my dad and him were doing some business together, probably a drug deal. And he was like, "Hey, before before we do any business, do you want to watch Face Off?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is?" I was a little kid. I was like, "What's Face Off?"
It's like a scene in the Tim and Eric movie when Will Ferrell's like, "You guys want to watch Top Gun?"
Yeah, it's pretty much what happened. And like he was like, "All right, well, hold on." And he had his wife, and he's like, "Hey, make Mikey, 'cause when I'm with my dad, I'm Mike. When I'm by myself, I'm Felix." But he goes, "Make Mikey some pepperoni sandwiches and throw on Face Off." And like I was like, all right. So I got to like sit on this massive couch. Like this dude literally had a home theater. He had like a projector that was on the ground though. It was on the ground and projected up, which was kind of weird. And then he had like a bunch of speakers. So I got to watch like Face Off in almost like a theater setting as a little kid. And and Jay Leno was just like, all right, enjoy these pepperoni sandwiches. Like, it was like mozzarella cheese, pizza sauce, and pepperoni. That was like,
that's like the perfect way to watch Face
Jay Leno's wife made me a pizza sub, and I got to watch like, you know, Face Off at his house. So I don't know if there's a better way to watch Face Off.
No,
like, you know.
That's the only way you need to watch Broken Arrow too. Is that same setting, which you can never recreate it. So never watch Broken Arrow.
Who is it? Christian Slater. Is it John Travolta in that?
Yeah, it's Travolta and Slater. Yeah.
Best scene in that movie is when they squint at each other in the cockpit. And that's when Christian Slater realizes John Travolta's a bad guy. Just close up, squint, squint, squint. Oh my god! And they start fighting. It's such a great moment. It's so cheesy.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Hard Target as well.
Oh, that's a fun one. Lance Henriksen is the bad guy.
Harpooning people. Harpooning homeless people is his thing.
Jean-Claude Van Damme's horrible Cajun accent.
Oh, man.
That is a fun one, though.
Yeah.
I like John Woo. His Hong Kong stuff is genuinely good, and his American stuff is campy good.
Yeah, it is.
But also, he just has a knack for staging chaotic, balletic action scenes, and of really just having an over-the-top sensibility that he commits to with every movie. I like John Woo. I think he's very good at what he does, but you have to be willing to go along with it, along for the ride.
I've been wanting to dive into his Hong Kong films. I watched Hard Boiled when I was like in 7th grade, and it was like the most badass thing I've ever seen.
That's an action epic. That whole hospital sequence at the end, it's like, fuck me, that's unbelievable. There's so many explosives and pyrotechnics. It's a miracle nobody got killed on that movie.
And I've never seen The Killer or anything else. Better Tomorrow.
Killer's good. I haven't seen Better Tomorrow. There's a ton I haven't seen. Bullet to the Head, there's actually a John Woo movie called Bullet to the Head. It's not just a Sylvester Stallone movie. Once a Thief. Yeah, there's a ton of John Woo stuff from his Hong Kong era that I still want to see. But yeah, Hard Boiled and The Killer I think are action classics. But I think, somebody said, I think that experience would make me like Face Off.
I mean, I was a little kid too, so I was really forgiving.
Yeah, a few more comments. Zach Hayes, I think I enjoy and respect There Will Be Blood more than No Country for Old Men, but I like them both equally.
Yeah, I kind of in the same
It's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. Those are that's as good as modern American cinema gets.
Yeah.
And one more I'm going to read from Kevin Helm. Hudsucker Proxy has some real fourth-dimensional concepts about God and machine. A serious man has seen straight copied from Intolerable Cruelty. The old man in those two still creeps me out. Old man.
It's been too long since I've seen them, so which I haven't seen Serious Man, but Intolerable Cruelty.
I like what he says though about fourth-dimensional concepts in the films, because that's kind of a little bit what I got from it, is that it's a little bit bigger than the story it originally puts on.
Yeah, definitely Serious Man. Yeah, you get a sense that there's some kind of weird intangible thing governing everything, but you don't understand what it is.
Yeah. It's definitely. I did kind of enjoy those. I'm tired. These themes were.
We'll bring it to a close. I don't understand this. Do you guys get this? He's been posting this. Beautiful, full of beauty. Dreadful, full of dread. So why is awful not full of awe?
Well, okay, because you think okay, so awful,
I can't tell if that's from something.
Awful, full of awe. Awesome, full of some awe. Why isn't awful good and awesome bad?
Full of awe.
And then awesome.
It's
something to ponder over.
It's because it's the English language and it makes no fucking sense.
That's true. It doesn't.
Like we're all fucked.
I got soul, but I'm not a soldier.
Yeah.
You know the Killer song?
I do. I've got soul, but yeah.
All right, peace out, my guys. Take it easy, dudes. All right, glad you all could join us. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for spending 3 hours with us.
Yeah, we'll be back. Well, I don't know if all of us will be back, but I'll certainly be back next week. I actually work next Saturday, but I have Friday off, so the next stream is actually going to be on Friday. It'll still be at 1 p.m. Hopefully everyone will be able to join me. Please answer this. What's your opinion on Neil Blomkamp, and have you seen his latest shorts?
Oh, God!
Check out our last video.
Yeah, we talked about Chappie, where we talk a lot about Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah. I like him.
I like him.
Yeah. But sorry.
Elysium was kind of... Have you guys all seen Elysium?
No.
I haven't seen Elysium,
I've seen the other two, but I haven't seen Elysium. And I haven't seen his shorts.
I've seen.
I don't watch movies.
Welcome to Joburg. That short he did about the aliens that became District 9. I saw that short film, but that's it. So sorry, but yeah, if you want to hear some Neil Blomkamp talk, you could probably watch our stream on Chappie. So apologies for that, but yeah, thank you all for joining us. We're probably gonna get some food and step outside to get some fresh
Get some air,
We're boiling
for sure.
in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you all had a good time. Hopefully see you on Friday next week. We'll be talking about some more stuff. Probably Baby Driver, maybe Twin Peaks. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Denny boy, Henry, thanks for having me. I'm Felix, guys. Take care.
Check
be
out
safe.
Podcast Away on iTunes, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Yeah, check us out.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.